waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. On we'll go. On we'll go, finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest, echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. On we'll go.
Man, StreamYard's adding cool features since we haven't streamed in a while. It automatically plays the intro now. I don't have to time this crap up like I used
Oh wow,
to.
it's been upgraded. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's been a long
Upgrade.
time, guys, since I've been on a StreamYard.
All right. So for anybody who's watching on my crypto channel, I aired this on the crypto channel, and I know I'm not going to do a Prado. So this is going to be deleted off my crypto channel, but I wanted to kind of introduce you all to my other channel, which is my Conservative Greek channel. So if you are on my crypto channel, you can just click the link, which is pinned, go to my other channel and subscribe there if you want this type of content. If you don't, I'm not going to push it on you. Crypto is still going to be my thing. I have two channels, you know. And for those of you who didn't know me, before, I always was politically motivated. I just always kept it hidden while I was doing crypto. I didn't like to go out there. You know, I kind of kept my fandom of Trump hidden for the longest time. And it wasn't until he got shot in Butler that I said, screw this. I'm making my political channel because I can't stand what's going on. I've been ranting and raving of what's going on in the world. My grandparents came here from Greece, and they came here legally, and they had a chance to bring up families and have 5 children each side, all came from Greece and had a chance at the American dream. And now I look back, and could they do that in today's society? And are American citizens given the same opportunities as illegal immigrants? No. So it just sickens me what's going on. And that's why I'm just, I'm saying it. And yes, I am as right as they come. Okay. I'm not going to hide it, So today we have Kryptonian with me and Chris Cruz with me.
What's up, everybody?
Hopefully we make this into a thing. I like these discussions. I miss streaming with you guys,
Yeah, same here.
Oh man.
You guys, I've always been known to say something stupid and speak my mind. So thanks for the invite. Greek, it's been a long time. Chris, seen you guys.
You want to say? Just don't spew love for Kamala, and I'll be all
No,
good.
not at all. No.
I'm kidding.
I'm not that dumb. No, but in all seriousness, yeah, as you guys know, I mean, I think if it hasn't been obvious, I lean more right than anything. I'm an independent conservative. I do vote Republican because as we were talking backstage, the policies, at least in my lifetime of voting, have lined up with my values and of course lined up with my pocketbook. So here we are running up on an election here that I think, you hear all the time. This election is going to, the most, important elections of our lifetime. Well, it is for me, at least at this point. And I agree with you, Greek. I have in-laws that have come from other countries, and family that have come over here illegally. They went through the process, paid the money. They're legal immigrants, gotten their citizenships. I have one right now that she's celebrating her becoming a U.S. citizen this week. It's her birthday, and she's celebrating becoming also a U.S. citizen. And has spent tens of thousands of dollars to get here to the United States, do it the right way, waited 5-6 years or whatever it was, took the test, everything. And now as she's going through that process, paid the money and she's got a work visa and everything. She's been paying taxes into this system for the last 5 or 6 years and being here in the U.S. And she's now seeing what's happening at the stroke of a pen. She's like, why how come they couldn't do that for me? That's not fair. It disgusts her. It makes her so angry, but I know we're going to get into all that. So with that being said, I'm happy to be talking about this stuff. I think it needs to be talked about. Whether what side are you on, I'm all about. I want to hear people out. I want to hear what your ideas are, what your thoughts are, what your opinions are. And hey, you may be able to make me think. I'm not so close-minded that I'm like this is what I believe and that's it. You've got to convince me, why I should think the way you think. It's got to make sense to me.
Anybody is a Kamala supporter and wants to come on, I will invite you on. I'm not like going to silence you. That's the one thing that I actually have found out is how much silence they want to silence you, the left. So I'm not going to silence anybody. I will hear out your opinion and we can have an honest and willing discussion if you're brave enough to come on. That's just me.
Chris won't bite you this time. What's up, Chris?
What's up, guys?
How you been, man?
I've been good. Been good. Lots going on, all that.
Lots going on. The cool thing is we're all from different parts of the country. We all have our different life experiences.
From a swing state.
Right. Well, but they're still trying to I'm from Texas, obviously, if you haven't noticed my southern accent, y'all. No, but in all seriousness, yeah, and they're trying to turn Texas purple, blue.
Accents?
What's that?
You have 11 different accents?
Have 11. Yeah, come a chameleon, right? She did a Jamaican one the other day, or it's on an interview.
Yeah, she's got 11 different ones now. It's I count. It's funny.
Oh yeah. I actually saw one today, something about that. But I almost said your real name.
Who's that?
My bad. You.
They all know me as Julian. Julian, no problem.
Okay,
no
problem. I was like, I'm just like, oh wait, you're back on the internet. We gotta be like, but anyway,
I go by AJ. For anybody who doesn't know, there it is. I ain't afraid to hide right now. I mean, Brian Legend already outed me.
Call me Julian.
All the crypto people know. And
just don't call me Julian, okay? It's Julian. All right, I'm just.
That's what I'm saying is. Remember that comment we had a long time ago? We were talking about something about flat Earth, stuff, whatever, and that guy put that comment in there and was like, and that Mexican. That's.
I'm the Mexican. Oh yeah, I forgot. That was funny. Yeah.
I was like, I was like, is he talking about me? Does he think I'm Mexican?
Well, yeah, I triggered so many flat Earth people that day. They're like,
that was fun. That was fun, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Man. That was a crazy time back then. I guess political wise, I think I lean more. I think I'm pretty middle of the road. I served a long time in the military, and veteran brothers and sisters and stuff, and I think in my formidable years being a part of the military, we were told to be pretty politics, just try to stay middle and neutral on politics, because what happens is you got one politician that yells about this and that, and both of them end up being totally wrong and all that, or they don't know what they're talking about. I'm more along the lines of, I just want to know your policies, and I was raised by Democrats, but they're blue dog working class Democrats, and they basically, the Bill of Rights, it was pounded into my head. So I'm probably more of a constitutionalist, I guess, but I pretty much go by that, and so they just free speech. I see these things all the time, and like when it comes to like free speech and stuff like that, yes, even hate speech is protected speech. Just because you don't like it and you think it's hate, okay, I don't want to listen to it and I don't want to be a part of it, but bottom line is free speech is,
you should have the right. You should have the right to say what's on your mind.
That's why I like that Elon now has X, because there was nowhere for the right to get their speech out. Like,
I know.
So many of my Democrat cousins and people I knew, they're like, no, that's not happening. They don't censor you. They don't do this. And I would show them things on the internet, and then 10 minutes later, that would be removed. And I go, if you don't catch it in that 10 minutes, you don't understand how it is.
Problem. And they're like, it was never there. I don't see it. I'm like, it was just there. I saw it with my own eyes. Yeah, they would memory hold that crap quickly. I remember that. It was,
so I mean,
they were quick about it.
That's pretty much, and I'm gonna bring this up early, maybe get a few things off my chest early. One thing that I cannot stand as being a constitutionalist or whatever you want to call it, we do not live in a democracy.
100%.
So these buzz whistle words of when they complain about people, this is not good for our democracy. Well, that's fine. You live in a different country than I do, because we're a constitutional republic. And I think that's important that people understand the difference, because a constitutional republic, every individual person's rights are protected. In the 80s, when I was young, the gay community was coming out. And if we were a democracy, gay people wouldn't be able to even talk to people nowadays.
I agree.
It was like, no, their rights are protected. And that's where I get kind of frustrated with some of the political discourse back and forth is, we live in a constitutional republic. It is not a democracy. So stop telling people that it's a democracy.
And I hate that. A threat to democracy.
This is bad for our democracy. What the heck is that?
They say that about Trump all the time, but one thing that has me pissed off so much is they claim all this stuff. He's already been president. What rights did everybody lose the last time he was president? I hate this.
Oh, yeah. When they say that, but Trump, but to be fair, they say it on both sides, though. I mean, people are like, oh,
I know a lot of like catch points they say on both sides. So I'm not just going to say that like it's the left saying it, but Kamala, he's an existential threat. I'm like, he's already been president. You're in the job right now doing absolutely nothing. But
those are their buzzwords and stuff like that. And that stuff, I just want people, if anybody would like, if anybody just wants to know, I mean, politicians are all full of crap. They're always. Trump hasn't been full of crap as nearly as long as Kamala and Biden and, George Bush, all of them. They all are full of crap.
At least we know who Trump is. He says it how it is.
Right.
Kamala is.
Yeah, and I think that gets him in trouble, though.
Yeah. But that's why his base loves him so much. There's so many times where I'm watching him and I'm like, oh, why did you say that? Your base loves that, but does the middle of the road love that? I get the right's going to like the right guy. The left's going to like the left guy. We're focused in this middle, trying to sway them to come here. And that's how you win elections. And sometimes I'm just like, oh, Jesus, why did he say that?
But I could care less what Trump says. I mean, honestly, I hear all these different things and they're like, the tweets, stuff like that. And it's like, I don't care. I care about what your policies are. I'm not voting for somebody. Same thing with Kamala. I'm not voting for someone to have a beer with them. When that was going on, when Bush was around, who would you rather have a beer with? Neither. These aren't my friends. I don't.
Yeah, I've been
I'm
friends
not.
I'd
You
have a
know.
beer with. Although
Right.
I would love to golf with Trump. I think that would be amazing
Well,
time.
you're a
I have
golfer.
such a
Yeah,
fun time. I'm a big golfer, so like for me, it would
yeah.
be fun to just shoot the breeze and just man to man, just talk. Not even election stuff. Just hang out with the guy. I think he's a cool guy. Like But I want to show this clip because this one's funny because people, the left is getting really triggered because now they can't control X. And this is just Hillary basically spewing that out. So here we go.
If the platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter X or Instagram or TikTok, whatever they are, if they don't moderate and monitor the content, we lose total control. And it's not just the social and psychological effects, it's real harm.
It's real harm. They don't
Lose
like
control. If they lose control.
That was just cruel. A veteran like me to put that lady up on the screen. That's just.
I'm
So
sorry.
you fought for her husband, man. You fought for her husband. So I'm just saying.
I can't tell you what I did.
I'm just trying
What's
to
this
trying to stop
control?
you.
They act like they want to control every narrative and everything, and when we lose total control.
Well, that's a Floridian slip. If we don't do something now, then we lose control. What do you mean control? Control of what? Free speech?
They don't have control. It goes back to my whole thing of a constitutional republic. You get 12 people together, they can't control one. It doesn't matter. The media doesn't control the people. Nobody controls any individual person at all. And it's the law. So if anybody is like, if they feel oppressed or something like that, there's a group of people that are oppressed. And guess what? All you got to do is file a lawsuit. And guess what? They're all going to get in trouble because it's part of the Constitution. Everybody's protected. Every citizen is protected. So I don't understand. Like, she's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. You want to control the media? Well, you don't have a choice. I mean, I don't have a choice. None of us have a choice.
I mean, they
can do what they
control
want to
90% of the
do.
media, but that's a different.
You what?
They control 90% of the media, but
Yeah.
they're biased. Yeah.
Well, that was before the ad hoc or the advent of the internet. Right now, they saw it happening, and I would say the explosion of information that's so instantaneously because of the internet. And that's one of the reasons why I love crypto, because oh my God, I can send money, like that across the world. Obviously, when we start talking about monetary stuff, but the free marketplace. But yeah, with the internet, social media came out, and it was just an explosion of information. I think the craziest thing is this is the most technological advanced, at least as far as we know. I would say generation, and we are the dumbest when it comes to. No offense if you're dumb, but what I mean by that is we're more ignorant. We think we know everything, but we're being told what we know rather than actually looking for the information yourself, doing your own research. And it's just crazy because I grew up as the internet was just exploding. I'm a 90s kid. So I grew up without social media. I actually had the privilege of becoming a young man and making mistakes without the internet and social media and all that crap. I learned the hard way. And now, as I've got adult children now, they, and I've got, young people that work with me and everything, and that I work with, and they're just in their 20s, and they're just like, they don't have a clue. As Chris was saying earlier, they think this is a democracy. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, man? But it's all about what they're being fed in social media. That's really frustrating. But I have to take a step back and realize, okay, they just don't know what they don't know. And I can't expect them to be where I'm at. They haven't lived my life. They haven't lived my life experiences. The most I can do as a concerned citizen in this United States is try to inform as many people as I can to my last breath, that you have rights. And if you have to fight for them, they're only given to you by God. And if you don't fight for them, they will be taken from you, and that's exactly what's been happening in the last few years. I would say the last 14 years, I've seen rights eroded like so quickly. And it's just coming. It's all coming to a head.
That's a great point. The
it's all coming to a
second
head.
you give them an inch, they take it, and you don't get that back. So, like,
they give you an inch to build a toll road, and now they're charging you to cross it. It's crazy how this works. You got to pay to get it back. It's not yours though. They're letting you borrow your rights. It's crazy.
When they put the
Permits and
tollway
shit.
system in Illinois, my dad, when they voted for it, they said Illinois is going to have the best roads in America. We're going to use this to pay for roads and stuff. And I don't know if anybody's driven through Illinois. I've replaced 3 tires in 2 years because I potholes everywhere. It's the crappiest roads in the world. And so you give them that inch where they can tax you. Now they use it as it costs me $2 in tolls to get to work. I could take routes that don't have tolls, but I don't want to inconvenience my life.
It costs you $2?
$2 just to drive to work just with tolls.
I pay $800-900 a month just to go to work, to my office in tolls.
Yeah, I'm not. Is that?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I don't pay jack shit.
Okay.
F you, Chris.
But that's because one of the roads I take, one of the highways doesn't have tolls, so it's just one.
You know what?
1 mile stretch of toll road I go on.
You know what that's from, Greg. And just this is something like an assignment for everybody to focus on politics for the next 30 years. We're on about our other things, but just focus on something. Every politician comes out and says that we need infrastructure, right? From state, local, federal, all these elections, these politicians complain about infrastructure. And it's a buzzword for people, and people are like, yeah, you need to fix potholes and everything. Guess what happens? They get in office, they do an infrastructure bill, they put it in place, they pat themselves on the back, do a tour, and then they take that money and they reallocate it to something else. So the roads don't get fixed, the bridges don't get fixed. And the next time that they run on, we need to fix infrastructure. And everybody's buzzwords are like, yeah, you're right. These bridges are terrible. These roads are terrible. And it's a Ponzi scheme. They just keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
In turn, is the same thing that's going on with FEMA right now. That these dollars are moved to different places, allocated with these buzzwords on them for doing certain things, and then they run out of money. Oh my goodness.
Jacko, I hope you're safe over there. My uncle actually he's up here. He flew up here from Fort Myers, so he evacuated. Hopefully you stay safe. And
it's crazy what's going on up there, man.
And Chris, speaking of what you were saying, it's like, they run on the same problem that they created. It's kind of like Kamala's whole campaign right now. Like the border, they created the issue, and now she's like, oh, but I'm going to fix the border. I was a prosecutor. No, you.
I think Kamala's biggest problem that Kamala has right now is that, first off, there's a lot of problems. But first off, it goes back to Obama. Okay, Obama is a good president. I don't care what anybody says. You might not like him. You might not. I mean, he did bad things here and there, but he was generally, I think he was a good president. I mean, and him having Joe Biden as his vice president was his biggest mistake. Now, I don't know why he did that, but then when he passed the torch to Joe Biden, Joe Biden isn't really a good president. You could just look at all the years that he's in politics, and he basically created some of the biggest messes that we've helped create, and then he ran on fixing those, which he didn't. So then you have Kamala Harris that literally I think you probably need a fact check on this, but I think Kamala Harris in her presidential runs on her own and as her position now, she's received 463 total votes ever.
You are 100% correct. Yeah. She was the first person out. She didn't even make it to Iowa, her first presidential run, because she was to the left of Bernie Sanders, and that's what she was running on. And the country was just like, what are you talking about? And now she's got to go back on all those positions. So she's her own worst enemy. She can't run on Biden's record. She can't run on her own record. So that's why you're seeing all this flip-flopping. And I'm just going to show the View clip because this is what's funny. She's been trying to separate herself from Biden. And yesterday on the View, she basically just tied herself to Biden, which I thought was the biggest mistake ever. And this is not into the polling yet. And all the left-wing people watch the View. So here's this clip.
Well, if anything, would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Yeah, she's got to do a full stop on that, man. She's going to lose this election if she continues to go down that road. That is not. She needs to separate herself from all that. And I saw a comment in there about Obama being a divider and dividing the country, and that is exactly right.
Yeah,
That's
he was a
where
divider in
I
chief.
can't.
That was his nickname.
I can't agree with Obama on, but if you talk about like foreign policy, you talk about reasonable. I mean, some of his policies and stuff like that, domestic policy, I did not agree with, but they were reasonable. His Obamacare was an absolute disaster.
It was.
You know, so yeah, I don't agree with a lot of stuff, but Kamala, she needs to. This needs to be a full stop. She's been trying to distance herself from the administration, and Donald Trump has it really easy if you think about it. I mean, being shot at, all that stuff is not really like, you know, and I can go into detail on the snipers and all that. That's right in my wheelhouse. What happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. So
yeah, that's not a hard shot, and you know that.
When Donald Trump, all he needs to do is take her words, and he can make an ad, because she'll say things that like she's not been there. And okay, she could easily come out and say that I was vice president, I didn't have control over making a lot of the decisions that Biden wanted to. So she's either going to have to either throw Biden under the bus, which would be totally fair for her to do if she truly believes that she's going to go a different direction. But then she doubles back and says she wouldn't change anything. It's like, look, you are trying to tell people that you are going to do things differently, that you are going to be different, and you complain about grocery prices and stuff like that. Well, the administration that you are coming from have done those things, and you're distancing yourself, but then you go right back and say that I wouldn't change it.
That's why her messaging's so wrong. You see her slogans, a new way forward, turn the page. She's out there, turn the page, turn the page. I'm like, what are you turning the page on? She's acting like she's the change candidate when she's in office right now, but then she's tying herself to the person who's in office right now. It's totally messed up. And I think people are, and then she's not genuine at all. The fake accents, we joke around about it. And I'm sitting here and I watch it, and I cringe every time because everybody can see through it, except for Prado. Prado just goes, "Oh my God."
I don't know what's Prado up to.
Don't even get me started. Prado, for those of you who are new to this channel, Prado used to be a guy we streamed crypto with. Then he went political. He used his crypto audience and tried to force feed. And he said he would vote for Trump because of crypto, which for everybody who knows,
yeah, I remember him saying that.
Trump is very pro crypto. He says he wants to make the United States crypto capital of the world. I hope he gets in because I own a lot of Bitcoin now, thanks to Chris Cruz, who talked me off of the DGen coins and into doing logical stuff, which is blue chips, and so he wants to do that. And then then when Joe Biden was a walking corpse, which we all saw at the debate, he came out and said, Joe Biden's going to win. And I'm like, dude, everybody's talking about how Joe Biden has to go. And then as soon as Kamala's installed, he went just like the full left-wing media. He went into Kamala's the greatest thing since sliced bread. The thing is, her numbers, her approval rating as vice president was the lowest ever. She wasn't liked by her party. They wanted to replace her off the ballot with Biden. But then when Biden was dead, they realized they have all this money in the PAC that could not go to anybody else. So they would really screw things up and then they talk about threat to democracy. Didn't even run a primary. She didn't get any votes. She was instilled in, and that puts a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. A lot of my Democrats are sickened by this. Yeah. They're like, we didn't vote for her. We didn't put her in. Like, when you vote for the president to be on the ballot, and then they pick their vice president. So people are like, well, technically those votes were for her because she's on that ticket. I'm like, were they?
Yeah, they should have gone back to the standings of the primary. And that's another thing too, is like none of them got a shot. I mean, the Democratic Party really screwed up when they alienated Tulsi Gabbard and Robert Kennedy. I mean, I don't even understand that. They had a decent shot. Even Bernie Sanders. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Bernie Sanders, but Elizabeth Warren, another one. I'm not a fan of either one of them. But at the same time, that that's why I say that the Democrats have screwed up. They are in such a deep hole that the only way that they will be able to fix this is if somehow she wins this election, which I don't see how you can.
You want my theory on this whole thing? And I've said this to many people. I've never said this on my videos or said this to you guys. My theory is Biden was going to kill them down ticket. They knew they were going to lose every single thing with him down ticket because voter turnout would have been so bad because you can't show up and be enthusiastic when you see a walking corpse. I mean, anybody with an eye and a brain can see that he's not legit right now. The only reason he's still president is because that was part of the agreement they probably made to get him to drop out, that they would not 25th Amendment him. You can't tell me that this guy's saying nobody was going to show up down ticket. They know Kamala sucks, and nobody wanted to go in on short notice and actually run. They didn't want to waste their other people in this election. That's my theory. Kamala at least will get people and get enough women to show up. And I'm sorry to women watching. This is not a flaw with you. She speaks better in those, some women, you know, the women's rights stuff, and they think they have a champion in her. So they'll show up to the ballots and it won't kill them as bad down ballot in this election. That's all I think this is. Now, could they do enough shenanigans and steal this one? I hope to God no. And this polling, whenever I hear a Democrat come to me and say this polling's close, I want you guys to look at the metadata and how this is sampled, because you're seeing polls where she's up 2 points in a poll and it's oversampling by 15% Dems. So those are the polls that the Dems are leaning on. Oh, look, she's winning. And I go, you got to look at these numbers on these polls, because now the pollsters are working for the left too, and they're working for the mainstream media because they want the same pollsters that said in 2016, the day before the election, that Trump was down 17 points in Wisconsin, and then he pulls off Wisconsin. What were they trying to do? They were trying to suppress votes. So the polling, it kind of goes hand in hand with how the candidates want, and it's sick. I know that Kamala's internal polling is struggling right now, and I can tell you why. Because she's doing interviews. She's going on The View. She's going on the stupid podcast, what Call Her Daddy podcast. She's going out there because she realized she's not catching with the majority of people she needs to catch with. Right. She is getting killed in that aspect. So she's going on this, but every time she opens her mouth, her polls dip further. So she's got that problem for her. And I can't blame her because her messaging is just all warped. I know a few of my Democrat cousins, I was talking to them and they go, she's dumb. I can't vote for her. So they're just either not going to show up, or they're going to be silent Trump voters, being like, you know, at least my life was better. And that's one thing that Trump has now that he can run on that he didn't have in 2020. 2020, they could blame him for COVID and they could use COVID against him, and they weaponized it against him to run, and they put Joe in the basement. Now you can see Trump's record, and you can see, well, Kamala's been in office now, and you can compare the two. And I'm sorry, when you go to the pump and you see $1 more a gallon, you can't hide it. Inflation. When you go to the grocery store, you can't hide this stuff anymore. There is no, oh my gosh, she's going to change things. What's she going to do? And when she talks about price gouging, let me give you a stat for anybody who may be watching, who is on the fence here. Grocery stores have a 1.2 to 1.6% margin. The margins are so freaking tight. They're not price gouging. It starts at the bottom. When you're paying more for hay to feed cattle and to get that stuff, I'm in trucking. So I can tell you that under Trump, we were paying $700 for Missouri to Illinois on some lanes there. We're paying close to $1,200 now for that same lane. So what does that do? The end user, by the time they get their product, it's going to be costing way more. So she wants to attack grocery stores for price gouging. Price gouging probably happens in rare instances like hurricanes. Right now, she's talking about price gouging. Yeah. When you have crazy events, you know, you don't have as much product. What are you going to do? You're going to raise your prices. That happens. That's the only thing I agree with her on price gouging. But in everyday inflation terms, price gouging doesn't exist. Okay. Gas, the margins are so slim on gas. So like,
well,
they're not.
If you look at the historical, and this data is readily available, you could find it. If you do any kind of if you do any stock trading or anything like that for like Kroger Company, any kind of grocery stores, you'll see that grocery stores run like what Greek was saying, but during COVID, grocery stores were at a loss. They were losing like 1 to 1.5% for like I think it was 3 months. I might be wrong on that. For 3 months during COVID,
They were getting
so
smacked.
yeah, grocery store. That's a stupid argument for anybody out there. I think she stopped talking about the price gouging thing. It was so
She
dumb,
lost
and it was like
3 points overnight in the poll because of that. And then the other thing, and I know you're an investor, and when she came out and she said she wants to raise capital gains tax, and then she also wants to tax unrealized gains, the first thing I did was go, is she the dumbest human being in the world? Her whole base is billionaires. Nobody can afford this. It's the dumbest thing. It would tank our economy. It would be the worst thing I've ever seen to tax unrealized gains. It's the dumbest thing she ever said. And then now she stopped spreading that because this is what she's doing. She comes out with something, realizes it's bad, and then she stops spreading it. But now she's going to her handouts, which is the classic, let's give $50,000 to small businesses. Let me tell you something. If inflation stays where it's at and the taxes stay where they're at, small businesses are struggling because of high taxes. Okay, well, Trump lowered the 39% corporate tax to 21%. That also flowed down into small businesses. Their taxes were less. Most of my dad's a CPA, so he's got a lot of restaurant clients. Most of them were thriving under the Trump era. Before COVID, we have to talk before COVID because COVID was an existential thing. It doesn't happen all the time. So you can't throw that on any president. I don't know if any president could have handled COVID and gotten out of it without job loss, without businesses suffering because of the way that blue states were closing things down. And don't get me, I'm not going to be conspiracy theory with COVID, but I think if we just kept everything open, our outlook at COVID would have been the exact same thing. So, but that's just me. I'm not going to get into COVID stuff.
We left everything open where I live. So we didn't do that.
Yeah. So like
you see that
stuff. You see that stuff. And so they look at it, and small businesses, you give them a $50,000 tax break. But if inflation's this high, I know all my restaurants, they don't even know how to price their stuff. You're seeing a lot of restaurants go to QR codes now because they cannot price their menu, because if they have set pricing on a menu and they can't print new menus, they're getting creamed. Because if eggs rise, they're getting creamed. So in a lot of businesses in Illinois, because we have now the slot machines in our businesses, do you know how many restaurant clients have said the only reason they're still open and the only reason they keep the lights up, they're losing money on their food, they're making money on the gambling, and that's keeping them open. So it's a sick environment we live in now. And when I hear people say, oh, it's the best economy you've ever had, what metrics are you using? Okay. And you see all the people that are in the Democratic side, and I hate it. It's all the elites, the billionaires. Now they come out, the celebrities, they don't see any of this problem. And yet, does this stuff affect me? I make enough money where, okay, I pay it, but it eats into my investment portfolio. That's where I don't invest as much because, it's eating into that. But there's a lot of people, I don't have kids, I don't have a family, but I see it where they're like, somebody I know just drove around for 3 weeks with a donut tire because they have kids. What's more important, putting a tire on your car in Illinois or feeding your family? So these are decisions people are making. And that's what sickens me. And Jim, Rich Hudman, I'm glad you brought Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban's out there, and he's like, when he was asked about the unrealized gains thing, he went into well, she's not going to get that past Congress. So, well, then why say it? Why even bring it up as a policy that you want to enact if you can't get it through Congress and stuff? We know it's never going to make it through Congress because it would cripple our economy, and everybody would tell her that. And then when she says this stupid thing about giving $25,000 to first-time home buyers. Now, for me, who I don't own a home, I rent from my friend, okay? But if I was buying a house, I don't want that handout because who pays for it? Where's the money coming from? And she says, let's tax.
Well, what you did is you just overinflated the real estate market.
Yeah, that's what she's going to do.
Because every single person out there that would right now say you're selling your house for $500,000, it just went to $225,000.
And Chris, out by you, Springfield, Ohio, they brought in 25,000 migrants into a town of 60,000. What did that do? It inflated the housing market, and the market there. Rent went up, everything went up, pricing went up. Those people are going crazy over there. And this is the problem. You bring in illegals, you're fighting for the same homes. That's the problem. You bring in 20, Trump says 21 million illegals. They have the exact number at 10 million illegals. Whatever it is, it's too much. You're killing markets and giving people 25,000 and claiming you're going to build 3 million new homes. How are you going to build these 3 million new homes when you have interest rates at what they're at right now? Most people are trapped in their homes. That's why you have a home shortage. And so the house I'm living in now has inflated in value by 100,000 since it was bought 4 years ago under Trump. But you're trapped in the home. My friend cannot sell this home for the value with that added value because he's got a 4% interest rate where he's going to get into a 10% interest rate. So it makes statistically no sense to get out of this home. So you have these inflation of house values. Nobody's leaving their houses. A lot of times it's just a problem. It's just people, it's just, and when she says this stuff, I just get annoyed because you got to think of it logically what it does. It's just sick.
Yeah, and I don't even understand like that whole thing that you're talking about in Springfield and everything like that. They do that. I don't understand why that's such a
what the eating the cats.
Yeah, the Haitians they eat different things,
Okay.
just like we. I mean, I don't think I want to eat dog. I don't want to eat cat, but where they come from,
cats and dogs. Now, what's
Yeah.
sad about this, and this is what I said, it took them that meme of eating cats and dogs, whether it's true or not, who gives a crap? It took that to even bring that to the national news to light, to make it a story about what the immigrants are doing. And it shows the problem of immigration. And if you don't get immigration under control, what that will lead to. Now, whether they're eating the cats or the dogs, like if it's happening, that's sick. Okay. If it's not happening, there's still an immigration problem. And the left just use that and they go, oh, they're eating cats and dogs. What a fool. No, that brought it up.
There's no, but that whole thing is, I don't like the way that Trump brought that up and everything like that. I mean, okay, you know,
I don't think he should have brought it up in the debate. I don't.
But that's a thing. I don't, and I'm not mad at them. I think it's more along the lines if they're taking people's pets. Yeah, I think.
I wish I had that video because, like,
but this is a known thing. That I mean, stray animals and stuff like that, ducks, everything. I don't understand.
But they don't treat ducks as pets. So, like, I've heard of them beheading a duck in the park, and they just bring it home, and they have videos of them.
It's just like someone like taking a chicken and cutting it up and going and making some chicken fingers.
What's great about Trump is he says things now, and the power of TikTok, and it became a viral thing. And they took Trump saying they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, and all these girls on TikTok are like, they're eating the cat. And I'm like, whoa, Trump just turned this thing that they thought they had against Trump now turned into this viral meme. And I'm like, whoa, it's actually a good thing. But what's not a good thing is since we're on immigration, I have my, Trump gives these stats out and they always want to claim their lies. 13,099 convicted of homicide, 15,811 convicted of sexual assault, 425,431 are convicted of some sort of crime where they came from. And Trump's been spewing this and he's been told, oh, this is a lie. It's not happening. And the left will say these numbers may be inflated. If there's even 4,000 convicted murderers, that's 4,000 too many. Why isn't the border secure? It doesn't take a bill to secure a border. And, the left will, you've heard this, the left with their all amazing border bill that they claim Trump shot down. And that's one part of the debate. I wish he had just said what was in the bill and why it's not a good bill, because most people don't know this. They hear Trump shot this bill down. Trump shot this bill, border protection bill. It codified catch and release. It let in 1.8 million illegals. It funded sanctuary cities, funded NGOs for moving illegals, lawyers to illegals, work permits to illegals, nothing to deport illegals, no immediate wall funds, weak asylum screening, and $60 billion to Ukraine. So you see what's in the bill when you look at it, and you'll never see like Prado when he's up on his lives. He'll talk about the bill. He'll be like, oh yeah, Trump shot down the border bill. And that sounds great to somebody on the left who doesn't do research. They just take the media's narrative for it. But if you say, hey, it's still letting in illegals, the problem's not going away. It's just a way of masking the problem to say they're trying to fix it. And they wanted to squeeze this in prior to an election. And if you notice right now, speaking of squeezing things in, gas prices are dipping just a little bit because now they're drilling magically. That's going to stop. This happens every single time. that an election happens. My dad said this to me for years, and I never believed it. This crap, but it happens. They do things just to kind of like mask it. And yes, I am doing political stuff. I'm not done with crypto. So unlike Prado, I didn't just get rid of my crypto
I'm
channel.
a little surprised by that when you guys are talking about Prado doing political stuff. He wasn't very educated on politics back when we would do crypto stuff. I remember the time that Kryptonian, they were talking about, Kryptonian was telling him that there's a video of Biden quid pro quo with Ukraine and telling him that they had to fire the prosecutor before he left, or they wouldn't get their loan guarantees. And Prado was like, I'd never heard of that. And I'm like, dude, that's like a major story. And I know I jumped on there and showed him the video.
Never happened.
Watch a live of his if you can withstand it. And it's basically MSNBC. He's showing all their
I trust
highlights,
you guys.
CNN.
Yeah. But I just find that weird. I would never have thought Prado going politics wise, because I always thought that he was very naive when it came to politics.
Well,
I might be wrong.
I don't even know if Prado believes the left garbage he's spewing, as he knows if he says it, he likes the show. So he gets all the Trumpers in his comments that go off, and Trumpers will attack him and be like, that's not true. That's not true. That's true. And he's like, I'm spewing facts. And then, but he doesn't, and then he bans all the people who don't agree with him so that he only gets his echo chamber.
See a comment from Merritt said Prado sold all his Vitruvio, just like all you did. I didn't sell my Vitruvio. I still have it.
Yeah.
Okay. I will 100% say it for anybody who knows. I sold all my Vitruvio. I got an offer I got an offer for my node. I got an offer OTC, and I took it. And I didn't hide the fact. I was very vocal about it that I sold
individual choice.
Yeah, it's your choice, man. And
like
I respect you for that.
It was like, I get it that I advertised that. Doesn't mean I have to go down with the ship. This is totally something different than what I invested in. Brian scammed us all. This is different.
Yeah.
So
bring up Slumdog's comment. The last one.
I haven't sold any of my Vitruvio. I haven't sold any of my Vitruvio, and I'm actually running a node for Vitruvio. So,
and I don't wish harm on anybody who's in Vitruvio. I just made a decision that I wanted to put in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin was at a nice price, and I basically don't.
That is extremely based comment right there, because that is exactly what happened, and that's where I say that's where Democrats ran into problems, because Obama, he did a bunch of stuff he shouldn't have done when he was vice president. Biden did. And then when he became president, he tried to clean it all up and everything like that. So, and then he made even a worse choice that the vice president now. So it's like the Democrats have a huge bench of a lot of good quality people that are there that don't believe in half of the craziness that's out there with the Democrat Party. And those people are basically being silenced. So, and another comment. So, Prado opened up his weed shop?
No. No.
Oh, I thought that Key Vibes wanted to.
Yeah. He was
so in classic Democrat move, things got too tough. He blamed me for his coin failing because I was mentioning some things that he wasn't doing right and misuse of funds. And it wasn't like he wasn't trying to make the coin work. He was just using funds dumb, and he thought he knew better. So then it turned out it failed, obviously, which I called from the start because he doesn't take advice from anybody. And then he just left it, and he started doing political stuff and abandoned his Discord. And then he comes in a tirade the other day saying everybody can F off. I've tried my hardest. I didn't leave you guys. But, I don't want to talk about Prado because
if they would have just, I know that it was like a year or so ago. I told him I was completely wrong about Prado, and I was out, and I severed that relationship with him. And I wish a lot of people would have listened early, because
he was
that
always
was crazy.
in it for the show. When when you're doing crypto, when you're doing these things, and crypto, he wanted to be the show. He didn't care what it was about, and afterwards I got mad because he got mad at me for denouncing Brian Legend stuff. And it wasn't till I found out that he was in conversation with Brian Legend, and he showed it on one of his live streams. The day that Brian Legend outed my information, Prado was talking to him, and Brian said, I'm going to out the Greek. He didn't accept my apology, and he's saying, stop scamming and doing all this stuff. And Prado says, the Greek's dead to me. I don't care what you do. So basically urged him on. And from then on, I'm like, dude. And then he wanted to blame his project on me because I brought up some things, because people I cared about in this community were invested with him. That's the only reason I brought it up. And then all of a sudden, you want to blame me and go full lib, blame the other guy. How about take some responsibility, look inside, and that's all you got to do.
Yeah, and
Prado lost his job
story,
for screaming on the job.
Origin story says that he listened, he left early, and got a lot of crap from Prado. And I have to say, is just my motto is never give a man grief for trying to better himself. So if you were leaving and you were going off to, you didn't think it was for you anymore. If you were in like my project or whatever, I would never give you grief for it. So if you think it's better for you not to be there, more power to you.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in politics with coins. Like, I've learned this when they say FUD, oh, you're talking against this. Like, if that ends you, then you don't have a strong base, right? Like, if me dissing Kamala is making that big of an impact to her, obviously she's not fit for the job. She's not the right person. Like, it just sickened me. And, people called me names, but in his Discord, I didn't care. It was all for what was right. And I said, I'm going to vow to do what's right. And that's what I
do. Right.
Mookie, do me a favor and tell your brother to call me. He called me a while back. I was out cutting down a tree, and for some reason he's not in my address book anymore. So tell him to give me a holler. He was talking about some important stuff, and I haven't been able to get back with him. So,
and I'll just bring this up. This is going to be deleted from my crypto channel. I just wanted people to know that I do have a political channel. I have videos on there. If you want, click here, subscribe. If you want to listen to political stuff, you don't have to. I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to there. It's there on my Greek channel. You click it, it will take you right to my other channel. I don't mingle channels. I just did it for this one, and that's it.
You don't double dip?
No, I don't double dip.
Kind of back to what we're talking about, guys. So what are your thoughts on if Kamala wins? Whether you're pro Dem, pro Republican, pro don't give a shit, whatever. If the Dems win, what do you think's going to happen? Like when I say I'm not asking like, is it like, Armageddon? I'm asking, what do you think's going to happen to the rest of the country when it comes to, I would say, who's running it for the next 4 years if she wins, but for the next 20, 30 years, what do you think happens politically?
Move everything off of exchanges, store of values, physical gold, crypto, bitcoins, cryptos. Some of cryptos I would not be a part of, but find store of values and do not hold assets. And if you do have assets, have them over leveraged.
I really, really worry on this one. And this is why I decided is I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but this woke culture and that stuff, it's just going to get worse. The DEI mentality, I'm seeing it everywhere. You're seeing it in FEMA. You're seeing it now, like some of the training documents in FEMA now that I've seen on Twitter, and I'm like, on X, whatever it's called now, it sickens me. Like, we're not hiring the best people. It's all identity stuff. And I just can't get behind this stuff. And that will continue to go further and further and further. What happened to you're qualified for the job, you get the job? Okay. I don't want some areas. And now I'm seeing it in schools with the way kids are acting in schools and how it's taught. And it's a road right now where I don't want it to go any further. I don't have any kids. I have a goddaughter, and I'm like, so help me God, some of the things that I see in this world just piss me off, and it annoys me. And then I see the way she leads. I see, seriously, when Trump says World War III, a lot of times Trump likes to overdo things, but the way her responses were on 60 Minutes talking about what she would do in hypothetical situations if somebody attacks somebody. And she goes, well, I'm not going to speak on hypotheticals. What kind of power is that? Do you want your leader to be like, I can't speak on hypotheticals? I want a leader who's going to be strong. And I truly believe none of this stuff, turmoil in the world, would have happened. You know, they feared Trump. Trump would say, you do something, I'm going to hit you hard. And, you know, people aren't going to do anything. A lot of things were better under him. Now, could you imagine what Trump presidency would have been like had the media not been attacking him for 3 years and they were not attacking him constantly? You know, it just sickens me.
Well, you got to think that, I mean, it's just the Hunter Biden laptop.
And I'm glad he didn't do the 60-minute interview because he put the whole spotlight right on Kamala. And like I thought she would, she can't answer any questions. And I brought up this chart. If you watch my video yesterday, it's basically what happens when Kamala is asked a question. She rambles incoherently. Then she cackles, then she blames Trump. And it's constantly like this. Like, the economy's bad, but Trump left us a terrible economy. Trump left you 1.8% inflation, I think it was. They brought it up into their first 14 months to 9%. And now they want to claim they're doing a good job with inflation just because it's already raised 17% in 3 years. How much more can it raise this year? It only raised 2%. They're like, see, inflation's down.
Well, that 60 Minutes edited video, someone just brought it up.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
we got that one. Let's show that one. Let me find it.
You know, while you're finding that, did you know that the Department of Defense, they have a directive that has expands to domestic military authority to include lethal force. Basically, the DoD. This is a story I read today. I'm still waiting on the sources that the Department of Defense is now giving the okay for our military to use lethal force on its citizens. Why? Why? So this goes back to my question: what happens if the Dems win? But go ahead and cue that video up, and we'll get into it.
That's in case martial law isn't established.
Yeah.
But
And here, if you don't think the media is biased, well, this was funny because CBS released this clip on Twitter, kind of like showcasing what's going to be, and then the aired version didn't have the whole answer. And then right away, people are like, "Whoa! I wonder what the more unedited parts were." So here's just one clip.
Yeah.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We are not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Freaking, what the hell did she just say on the first part? Like, what? Things that actually include, not to forget it's like, what the hell is she talking about, man? Makes no sense, man.
It makes no sense. It's this constant word salad. And then
It's a word salad, but you're right, Greek. The fact that they actually had to take a cut and insert it for her actual answer. You know, there's another time where she starts talking about price gouging and fixing inflation. The narrator, I forget his guy, the journalist had to actually, he does a voice dub over what Harris is saying, that she plans to go to Congress. I'm sure you've heard a clip. It's like, and she's sitting there talking in the background. They obviously turn her volume down. He's got to go in and explain her policy or her plans. This is ridiculous.
She's very smart, though. You see what she's doing? She has her pundits go out there in the media and reverse her policies, but then she never reverses them. And then she goes into word salad mode where she doesn't really like the fracking thing. She was clearly against fracking. And I want people to understand this, that she sued the Obama administration in California because he was fracking over in the Pacific Ocean there. She sued him. So she not only was against fracking, she was going after them for fracking, and she was all the time against fracking. And then all of a sudden now her pundits came out saying, no, she's not against fracking. But then when asked about it during the debate, what did she say? I was clear in 2020. You never said you were against it. You said Joe Biden would not ban fracking. So what is your position? And why did you switch? That's what the American people want.
Yeah, I want to know why. Like
Why?
Why have you changed your policies or your views? And look, if she's changed her view, We all do. You know, I've changed my view on many things as I've gotten older in life and had my life experiences, but I can give you reasons for it, you know, and I want to know why she's changed her view in the last 3 years, or at least her opinions on these things. And her answers that I've heard is, well, because I've traveled the country, I've been vice president for 3 years, and I've traveled the country. This is her answer, you know, and I've traveled the country and I spoke to many people. And it's like, what? Okay, who did you speak to? And what did they say? And what did they say that convinced you to change your mind? She doesn't get into that. I'm trying to build a consensus. She's just a freaking, she's a bullshitter, man. That's all she is. You know, that's all she is. She can't. She says a lot of nothing. She's just saying words
all the time. How we're not running again. Well, I say we're not because I throw myself in the Trump. Obviously, I donated to this campaign for full honesty for everybody.
I've donated too, for sure.
Yeah. So, what was I going to say?
What's up, Rich?
Yeah. Rich Hugman here. Kamala was caught on a hot mic today. Basically, she's talking with FEMA directors. Now, all of a sudden, she cares about this stuff, even though she didn't show up to briefings her first 3 years in office. For anybody who wants to know, that's public record. And she's caught on a hot mic telling her staff, I'm on a live call. Give me the questions.
But I agree with that. And the people talk about the earring in the ear during the debate and everything like that, and someone talking to her. Honestly, I think she should have someone in her ear, man, because some of the things that she says are just like, you're like, what? Either this person that's talking to her is giving her bad advice and she needs to get somebody else, or she says some of the things that she says are just like, it kills the momentum of Democrats, dude. That's the way I see it. It's like, I mean, this hot mic thing today,
I wish I had a clip.
Just tell somebody to, you know, write the questions down on. She picked up a piece of paper and was like, what about this? I'd be like, all right, she's young at this, you know, national stage type thing. She did terrible in her run. So maybe they help her out and she becomes more, what do you feel? What do you think? And we get her real stuff. Now, to me, it just seems like she's just so damn scripted. And they're telling her what to say.
She's just a puppet, you know, and you hear that word thrown around. She was just picked. And I think Joe Biden was
up against the machine. That's what I went
We're up against the machine. And this goes back to the question that I had, guys, is what happens if the Dems win? And I don't know if you guys know anything about, or I'm sure you have, most of you probably have seen the actual Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson interview that happened just after the Butler event.
Great interview.
Of course Trump had, and of course Elon went on stage and he actually went off the cuff. And what I remember, he was talking about when he went to go speak at the rally for Trump, that he didn't have a teleprompter. It was just off the top of his head. And I actually liked it. That actually caught my ear. I was like, okay, so, you know, if you guys know anything about me, you know, I question everything. I trust no one always. And especially when it comes to, you know, we've talked about, you know, all these conspiracies and the moon and all that stuff. Yeah, obviously I don't believe we went to the moon. Greek obviously does. But at the end of the day, but Elon, you know, but Elon's a rocket guy. You know, he makes rockets and stuff. So I have my questions about that. But that's besides the point. You know, my point is I got to hear this guy actually talk off the cuff to a guy that I actually hold in high regard, which is Tucker Carlson, because I think he was completely, as he began to open his eyes to things and to the machines, he began to speak, and of course they tried to cancel him. So he's sitting down with Tucker Carlson, and I have a couple of clips I hope I can play, but one of the things that was asked of him was, what happens if the Dems win? So if you don't mind, I'd like to play the clip. And this is Elon's response to what happens if the Dems win this election. And he goes on to say that there will be no longer be an election. There will be no more elections. And when you hear that, you're going, what is that? That's ridiculous. What does he mean that there's the Kamala's going to be a dictator? No, he's actually talking about behind the scenes here. And this is the big picture. And this is why the reason I'm playing this clip, guys, is because I actually agree with him. There's a couple of things that he said. There's 3 clips that I have, you know, and I'll play them over time. But I agree with him, and it makes sense to me as to why this all comes back to why the borders have been open since his administration. I'm talking about Biden's, and why it's a 20+ million people that I believe that have been let in, and they've been embedded into swing states. And it starts with this. So let's go and play the clip.
I mean, my view is that if Trump doesn't win this election, it's the last election we're going to have. The Democrats, the Dem machine, has been importing so many people, bringing in so many illegals, flying in with this like CBP border app thing that nobody even knew about, like secret program. That's illegal, basically. It's illegal, but there's no action by the DOJ to actually to stop it from happening. They're transporting large numbers of illegals to swing states. If you look at the numbers, these are the numbers from the government website. So like from the Democrat-administered government websites. Like, where do you get this data? From the government website that is run by Democrats. There are triple-digit increases in illegals to all the swing states. And in some cases, it's like 700% over the last 3 years. Now, these swing state margins are, sometimes 10, 20,000 votes. So what happens if you put, hundreds of thousands of people into each swing state? And when somebody is granted asylum, they are fast-tracked. They can get a green card, and then 5 years after the green card, they can get citizenship and they can fully legally vote. And when they do so, they vote overwhelmingly Democrat. And sometimes I get this rebuttal of like, well, a lot of them, their social values don't align with sort of the far left sort of woke ideology. Yeah. I said that's true, but that's not their top priority. Their top priority is getting their friends and family also to the United States. And the Dems also issue all these programs, these sort of handouts, essentially, that make them beholden to the Democratic Party. So they vote Dem. That's what happens. So my prediction is if there's another 4 years of a Dem administration, they will legalize so many illegals that are there that the next election, there won't be any swing states.
And that's a fact. That is a fact. I can actually attest to that here in Harris County in the Houston area where I live. There's illegals everywhere. I mean, I'm in Texas. Obviously, it's a hotbed for human trafficking and all these things. It's just, we've got a lot of problems here just in Texas, and with all the illegals here. And they are overwhelmingly embedded into our counties. And this is why Harris County is one of the most corrupt. And there's pockets of Houston where you just see, they just put them in apartments and housing. And they just give them all these programs, and that's their voters. And this is why the Democrats here in Harris County and Houston are in power. This is why Houston, and you've been to Houston, you've seen it here. It's a shithole, man. It really is. And it wasn't the Houston that I grew up in. But I agree with Elon that if they win, another 4 years, they're going to fast track, amnesty for these illegals that are here, illegal aliens, not immigrants or migrants. They're illegal aliens at the end of the day. It's in the Constitution. Okay. Words matter, right? So I believe that this has been their plan the whole time. What are your thoughts on that, guys? On what he said?
100% agree. 100% agree. And they're not even trying to hide it anymore.
No, they're not.
Did you see what they did during the vice presidential debate when he brought up the CBP One app?
Oh yeah,
cut his mic off.
They try to fact check him. Vance did an amazing job.
I was like, wow. Could they just? They were like, he's spewing too much knowledge here. We need to shut this down very quick.
Oh yeah, you got to be careful with Vance because Vance and I have a connected history. So.
Oh really?
Yeah, he grew up.
Hillbilly Effigy. I see. Are you in the movie? So, I knew I saw you there.
But he let's see, he grew up 10 miles away from where I live or where I grew up.
Ah, nice, interesting. Man, I'm learning some stuff.
Him and his sister were raised by his grandmother after his parents had drug abuse problems, stuff like that. Same thing happened with my sister and I. Same area, our ancestor history and stuff like that. We had grandparents and great grandparents that didn't have indoor plumbing. A lot of us come from, the south east portion of Kentucky and West Virginia. So he's been, him and Vivek are pretty big, popular guys around where I'm at. So
that's good, man. And Vivek, if it hadn't been Vance as his selection, Vivek would have been my next choice. Honestly, Vivek was my first choice.
I think it went the way it was supposed to because I like Vance and his position, and the way that the state is ending up being and everything like that. I think Vivek will either be tapped to be the if Vance and Trump and Vance win, he'll be tapped to be the senator, or he will work with the Trump Vance team for a little while, and then he'll run for governor.
That's what I
That'd be good. Yeah, he's got, if I live there, he definitely have my vote.
And I think the Vance part is that Vance is very educated. He's pretty smart. He's a military guy. He's been downrange. There's a lot of things that him and I have a lot in common, and he needs to age a little bit more in politics before he would make a push or a run into, maybe the presidency or something else or another position. I think he needs his 4 years. So, and like when people are like complaining about Vance and stuff like that, that's why I'm like, that's a full stop for me, because it's like, I know this guy better than I've known, other than my other friend that's running for the congressional seat now. I know these guys really, really good. So,
well, that's good. That actually
Dave I know really well. So,
who's
that's
your
cool.
friend?
That gives me peace, man.
Anybody from Ohio's got to vote for him.
Oh yeah, I mean, even the Haitians. I don't know. Everybody's upset about that. The Haitians are like, yeah, we're voting for Trump.
So now that Vance got brought up, he impressed me so much during that debate.
Oh yeah,
and
man, he did.
That's another thing that I think Kamala really messed up when she picked Walz. I started dancing. I was on vacation.
Disney,
I'm like,
man.
how could you pick that guy?
That guy's a weirdo.
Minnesota hates him. There's just that, the big area likes him, and he gets enough votes there to win the state. He's not liked there. His policies are ridiculous.
Trump's actually winning in his state. He's up in the polls.
Let me address something real quick here.
Feel free.
I think Slumdog Millionaire brings up a point where he's saying that so when Vance says that he grew up poor, I don't think you understand the kind of mentality of what people from like Eastern Kentucky, the Appalachians, and like, Ohio, the Ohio River Valley, and West Virginia, what it was like. I mean, these are family was like mountain people, dude. Kids, my great grandparents and family members that didn't have indoor plumbing. They didn't have shoes. And JD Vance's family, now that's not actually his name. He took that name, but his family and everything like that. When you talk about poor, you can't get much poorer than what these people that came around here. If you go back 2 or 3 generations to almost everybody that I live around, they didn't have indoor plumbing, and they didn't have floors they had dirt floors where they lived. Most of them lived in the mountains, and everything was made by their hands. So yeah, when JD Vance talks about his life growing up and everything like that, the guy graduates high school, goes into the Marine Corps, uses a GI Bill to go to Ohio State, graduates from Ohio State, and then he gets accepted and goes to Yale. I don't care. And that Tim Walz guy, I'll tell you right now, his stolen valor is not sitting well with veterans. That
100%.
People misspeak all the time.
Pissed, man. My dad was pissed.
Yeah, people misspeak all the time, but and it happened right around the time we were all talking about it. And a friend of mine had an X space, and I was on there with them talking about it, and people misspeak all the time. And like, I'm a lifetime member of the VFW. Now, if you know anything about being a veteran, you have to be in a conflict to be considered and be a part of the VFW, Veterans Foreign Wars. The American Legion, you just need to be a veteran, but VFW is just a little bit different. And most of the time when I talk to people that aren't veterans or don't know much about the military, I just let them know that I'm a lifetime member of the VFW. And if you're a veteran, you know what that means. If you're not, you're just like, oh, he's just an old guy sitting at the bar, somewhere, But when Walz did that, a lot of veterans were like, okay, sometimes they misspeak, Yeah, apples and oranges, we weren't too happy about. But then when it kept snowballing and everything like that, and when this guy goes out there and he says stuff about JD Vance going to Yale and stuff like that.
Yeah,
well, this guy did exactly what every red-blooded American wants to see themselves do or their children do. Come from a very poor background, serve your country, and your country pays you back by taking care for college or getting you a VA loan for your home or doing something to repay you. And you take full advantage of it. He didn't go to a semester of a community college and drop out and ended up working, not doing anything. He took it. He graduated from Ohio State. He went on to Yale, and that is a success story. So when Tim Walz brings that stuff up, and I don't want to downplay people's reserve and guard time and everything like that, but when Tim Walz said that he was 24 years in the guard, I'm not saying that's light work. He did the work, but that's a little different from somebody being in for like 24 years of active duty military service. There's a difference. He'll go 1 week in a month and 2 weeks a year for 24 years, ends up, being several years. Yeah, he will still had to put the uniform on. He still had to do all that stuff. Don't take that away from him, but he shouldn't be downplaying the successes of what another veteran has done with what was given to him. And it really burns me up whenever he brings that stuff up, and the respect and what Vance showed him during that debate. I basically saw a lot of honor and dignity in
discipline,
JD Vance.
discipline, man.
And
So
I
much-
was very, very disappointed in Walz. I was very disappointed, especially somebody that has not been completely honest and has misspoke.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you misspeak
just
about
misspeaking
Tiananmen
the
I
word.
think
Square.
Kamala was disappointed in him as well.
And the Tiananmen Square thing's a big deal too, because he
Yeah.
got married. His date was set because it's a memory of that. So and with the stolen valor thing, it's not just I misspoke once and I never corrected the quote. And you could claim this was multiple times. They have multiple
times, yeah.
times throughout the years. He never bothered to, and no one's
He
going to
kind of just double down
downgrade-
on it and use it to progress his career.
No one's going to be like, oh, you served 24 years. Why do you have to lie about that? If somebody says they served 24 years in the National Guard, I look up to them. I thank you for your service. Like, you don't have to lie about holding weapons in war when you didn't. And it just rubbed me the wrong way. And of course, the media let that go, didn't attack it, didn't question him. And then when he says he's a knucklehead, how's that a good way of explaining I'm a knucklehead? Sometimes that pisses me off with him. But
Well,
there's a lot
and
more.
that leads me into the thing
knuckles
about,
and chuckles, man.
about Trump. And listen, I've been around a lot of people that have been in a situation that Trump was in Butler. And, you can tell a lot of people don't take that the way that Trump took it. It
It's like
affects them.
it's like it didn't happen. I mean, I know it did.
Well,
I mean,
especially after it happens, when live gunfire and stuff like that, that's a
bullets.
situation that you don't know what you're going to do. Even the toughest, biggest guys are down in the fetal position crying. I mean, you just don't know how you're going to take
No
that
Big
kind of
Daddy.
stuff. And I mean, I would never in a million years expected Donald Trump to react to something like that. And that hit home for me big time, because I have seen that.
Ditto.
And
Ditto.
I've been a part of that. So I am very disgusted in the way that they've I don't think Trump is honorable. Don't get me wrong. I think there's lots of things about it, but JD Vance may have some issues and stuff like that, but I don't think either one of those men, I think they're pretty decent human beings, and I may have misjudged Trump for as honorable as he might be. I mean, give him a little bit of credit. I don't know many people that would have reacted like Donald Trump did in Butler.
What sickened me is how the media, they wanted to come up with stories, or he didn't really get shot. I go, a man died. Can we not,
I saw a post where somebody said, they literally said that they thought their opinion was, so they didn't get community noted or whatever, that it was a piece of the teleprompter hitting Trump, and the picture that they had on their post literally showed both teleprompters and him going like this.
I know that one's easily
It was like,
debunked.
wait, what teleprompter was it that shattered, that hit his ear? Because the two that he used, they were intact.
And I'm telling you,
So-
150-yard shot with that kind of rifle that was being used, anybody who shot that rifle knows it's not a hard shot. So the luck factor, it's like 1 in a million that he only grazed his ear. It's
Rich
Maybe-
Hudman, he commented about the VFW, so he knows what I'm talking about.
and a lot of veterans. I've been listening to shows, they call it, and they were pissed. Even like his army mates, his platoon that he was with in the National Guard, they were all pissed at him. Walls, and it's serious. People don't understand unless you served. I can't, like some people say, oh, that's not a big deal. So what? He misspoke. The natural human reactions, like he misspoke. But when you've served, it's a much bigger deal than.
Yeah, Chris, you're absolutely right. Because my dad's he's part of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. He was in Nam, and it really upset him. He got angry because he watched the Vance, not Vance. I'm sorry. He watched Walls kind of continue to lie about it. He started seeing it kind of pop up here and there. And when he saw the debate with Vance and Walls, my dad had the same sentiments that you did. He's like, wow, he expected Vance to kind of just dig in, to just tear into him, especially about the stolen valor. But he never mentioned it, right? And my dad was like, he goes, that's a Marine right there.
There's something that we call in the
That's a Marine.
military, and it's like all branches
Control.
and stuff like that. It's called military bearing. And
That's exactly what my dad said. It's exactly what my
Yeah,
dad
and-
said.
and
Man, I'm
and
telling
J.D.
you,
Vance showed extreme military bearing,
Yeah.
and
That helped
Tim,
him out.
he
Too.
did-
It made him look so much better too,
oh yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right after that debate, I said 2028 Vance on the ticket. That's what I got out of it. Like,
what
wasn't a
I
fan of
thought
the ticket
was
first. I didn't know him, but then
What
now
I
I'm
thought
like,
was-
Trump did it for a reason. To
yes,
extend
yeah.
it.
He saw something that we didn't. Everybody's like, why are they picking this guy? But yeah, if Trump wins, Vance win, if they win this election, Trump goes for his 4 years, and it's a success, and he gets to do a lot of the things that he wants to do, and really try to bring us back to where we're actually a decent country again. And I'm talking about economically and even socially, right? Because it's so crazy right now. I can absolutely see. I can see Vance taking that baton and running with it. I can see it, and I think his resolve. He showed so much resolve when he didn't have to in that debate, and even up to now. So that's what I want to see in a president. That's what I want to see in a leader. What are you going to do
Well,
when you're under
Trump-
fire?
Vance is a never Trumper, just like I was.
Yeah.
I mean, I
'cause
voted for Donald Trump because I couldn't vote for Hillary Clinton because of Benghazi.
Yeah. Oh, that's even
That
worse.
was-
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. I
and
couldn't vote for Hillary Clinton for that reason, and I basically, like I think is it JD Vance or somebody said that they're going to hold their nose and vote for Trump, and I was kind of the same way. I voted for Trump. I was like,
he said
I can
actually
get behind 20% of his policies.
Yeah,
but
that's what he
I was-
said there, because he was asked why you were once a never Trumper, and he's like, well, after I'm able to compare policies now and results, yeah, Trump was right in a lot of ways, so he's able to look at it's just Trump did a lot of things correct, and back to the whole fight. I changed my background, as you guys can see. I mean, I know where I was and what was happening at that very moment when it happened. I wasn't watching the event. I actually caught minutes, probably about 20 minutes afterwards. And I remember queuing it up because obviously it hit the news. But yeah, it was just unbelievable that happened. But when I actually got to get it queued up and pull it up on, I think it was on YouTube or something. They showed the part where he actually gets up and he's just like, fight. Holy crap, man! That made me feel just like I felt a certain kind of way. There it is.
An iconic picture.
I was like, that man just took a freaking bullet.
Yeah,
for
that
this
kind of
country.
pissed me off too. Like what Key Vibes it said in that comment. They never brought it up, and when Trump brought it up, when he said he took a bullet for democracy, I was like, yeah. Now why don't we talk about this? And they're like, no, we don't have time to talk about that. We got other things to talk about.
Yeah,
That debate-
I'm like, Jesus.
That debate really pissed me off because it was 3-on-1 and Trump got baited And
Yeah,
he
he
got
felt. I expected him to get baited, man. I really did, because it's like he knew. The thing is, I wasn't surprised by the debate. I wasn't surprised. I wouldn't even say I was disappointed. I was expecting him to get baited and not be able to go into the policies, because he never really does. And if you think about the last debates he's always done, he just doesn't go into policies and details like Vance would have done. So I wasn't expecting him to do that. Had he done that, I think he would have been fact checked on the fly. They would have cut his mic, so he wouldn't have even been able to get to his point of talking about the policies.
He was so up against it. There was no way he was going to be able to get his message out there cleanly.
Yeah.
But my friends kept texting me during the debate, and they're like, "We just lost the election. She looks decent." And I'm like, "Guys, it's 3-1." And then so what I did is I tend to always not freak out and panic in this situation, because your first reaction usually is a gut check reaction. You usually make the wrong decision.
Sure.
And then I went back and I looked at how they had videos of how the undecided voters were catching everything. And they're like, this is a hit piece. They sided actually with Trump. And I'm like, wow, they're leaning more towards Trump on everything, the undecided voter. And then I'm like, whoa, maybe this debate wasn't good for Trump's base that wanted him to go and attack her.
Yeah.
But for that undecided voter, did she do anything that made you say, wow?
She did not
I'm
move
gonna
the
vote.
needle at all.
She didn't explain any policy of hers.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything that made you go, okay, I think my life's going to be way better with joy. I mean,
Trump's got most of the independent votes because of the fact that, I mean, because we all look at policy, and it's like, man, it is like you can't get a policy out of these Democrats. They really just run on the abortion issue. I mean,
I was going to say that's the only policy they have. And
that's it. And it's almost like they don't believe Trump. Now, listen, I don't know if Trump's telling the truth or not. I don't know if Kamala Harris is telling the truth or not. But if I ask a question, or if I have a question, if I say, okay, are you going to sign an abortion ban bill if it comes to your desk, and you say no, and I ask you 30 times again, and multiple interviews, multiple debates, dude, I don't know if he's going to do it or not, but he said repeatedly he's not going to do it. So why are we even talking about it? And then Kamala or someone will go on a show and act like he never said it. And it's like, wait a minute. So you're picking and choosing what you're going to believe or not? No, you're stonewalling, and you're asking the same question so that independents like me cannot get a fair, legitimate answer to policies. If you spend 5 minutes talking about Trump not signing an abortion ban, and you think he's a liar and a threat to democracy and all that kind of stuff, I'm not getting the answers I need, and I tune you out. So until they stop doing that crap, and politicians used to talk about what their record was and what they were going to do. But it seems like nowadays it's all that just pile on each other. And then I'm like, okay, whenever you're done piling on each other, could you answer my questions so I can make an informed decision?
I'm glad you brought that up, because see, as an independent, it's good to hear that, because I think most independents, like you say, in this country, I'm hearing this from them. They're like, I don't know who Kamala is. I know who Trump was. He was in office. I go to the grocery store. I see the prices. I go to the gas station. I see the prices. Yeah. What is Kamala? In any job, I want people to put on, forget politics. If you're a boss, you don't hire somebody to then find out what they might do in the job. You're interviewing for the job. Tell me what you're going to do so I know what to expect while you're doing the job. She does nothing like that. Are you going to hire her in and just be like, well, then we'll find out her policies then, how she believes on everything? Is she really telling the truth about fracking? She's never come out, denounced it. This is the problem with Kamala, and this is what annoys me so much. Not that I could never vote for her anyways, because I don't agree with any of her stances on anything.
Yeah, I'm tending not to have anything, but Richard Udman brings up the same thing. So this is my Project 25 story, is that I'm like, I go to Trump's webpage, check it out and all that kind of stuff. I see that Agenda 47, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, this seems neat. He's got some information on here. I like that. Joe Biden seemed to just, he was, I don't know. He's just running on, I'm the president, and the other guy's a threat to democracy. And I'm like, all right, well, let's get to some details. And then I saw something about Project 2025 and Trump's Project 2025. I'm like, wait a minute, what? I thought it was Agenda 47. So a couple of days passed and everything like that. And I'm like, I'm going to go check this out. And it still said Agenda 47 on his webpage. And then I come to find out this Project 2025 doesn't have anything to do with Trump. It's people that know him or might have worked with him, but it doesn't have anything to do with him. And so then while they're still saying that, I'm sitting here going to myself, I'm not, myself, my family and stuff like that. I've debunked this myself, my own individual fact checker for myself. And they keep bringing it up. And I'm just like, guys, anybody that researches on their own will know Project 2025 has nothing to do with Trump.
That's what's
and even if he was to implement half of that on there, I don't think I'd be too upset about it. Some of it, I'm like,
there's some crazy stuff in there that's like, then they point out the crazy stuff. The reason they tie him with it is because I think it was like 30 former staffers of his that are no longer with him wrote parts of it. And the foreword was written by J.D. Vance, which is just doesn't really tie into anything. It's just a foreword.
Yeah, it's just a foreword. Yeah.
But they constantly.
Yeah, the Heritage Foundation created this. And that's another thing, too. Wasn't it created like 2020?
Yeah, and the Heritage Foundation said it has nothing to do with Trump, and one person on the Heritage Foundation group has endorsed Kamala. So really, their whole argument's gone. But Kamala tweets this every day. Kamala and Walls will tweet, "Oh, Trump's Project 2025 wants to ban abortions, wants to do this," and I'm like, Trump's plans Agenda 47, but she gets ratioed all the time in her comments from people saying that's not his plan. Stop lying. Everybody sees through it. It's crazy that they keep bringing this up. And Prado has done 90 videos now, Trump's Project 2025, and he puts that in his thumbnail. Their whole thing is just
now. How did see? It's like I stumble into this guy. I mean, if I was doing a YouTube channel and I was supporting Democrat politicians, I would literally treat Project 2025 as radioactive and would stay away from it completely, because independent voters like me know that Project 2025 doesn't have anything to do with Trump. We know. And a lot of independent voters would want Trump to do more on Project 2025 than what he's talking about doing. So I don't even, honestly, it's not too smart, but you know what? We're not dealing with people that are too smart.
I mean,
and they're talking about if this election, if Gus was saying, guys, if Trump loses, this election is rigged again. I don't know if Trump loses, I would be more discouraged by the fact that people voted for someone that did not state their policies. That's the part that really pisses me off about Democrats, is because it's just like they use that woke agenda as their platform. And it's like, look, I don't care about your woke agenda. I want to know what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. And your policies from what you said before to now, they don't line up. And if they're the same policies that Biden was president under, I don't think that those are going to work. So tell me what your policies are and tell me why you want to do those policies so I can have a fair shake. If they don't do that and Trump loses, I am very discouraged by people voting for an individual because they don't know their policies. And that's where I would be upset. I don't know if it'd be rigged or whatever, but it would almost be rigged because the media and all the people aren't pushing them in that direction. The media needs to stop. He said, she said. They're not. They
don't need to be propaganda. Just say what their policies are.
Yes, tell me what their policies are. Inform me as to what has been stated and what the policies are, and move forward. I don't care if they're eating the dogs. I don't care if they're eating the cats. I don't care what they're. Just give me the policies and I'll make up my own decision. And if people vote a certain way, I mean, that's why I tell people that tell me that they're voting for Harris. What's your favorite policy, or tell me some of their policies. And I'm not trying to catch them. I'm trying to be like, educate me on what it is. And I don't want to tell me their policies without telling me how much you hate Trump.
That's exactly what they do for me. They're like, well, he's not Trump. That's what they tell me.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
Trump.
and I could care less if Trump.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever liked a president. I mean,
Same here.
I
you know.
thought Reagan.
I would have liked Reagan. I think, you know, I was a kid, but
I don't think I would want to hang out with Reagan.
No.
I thought he was funny.
Yeah, he
And
was.
George
I mean,
Bush
from what
Sr., I
I've
didn't like
seen,
him.
you know, he's very funny. His jokes were on point. You know, especially when he talks about the difference between a liberal and a conservative. Anyways,
He
but,
does
yeah, if
have
you
the-
go
one of
Google
the
that
most
stuff.
iconic lines, though, in presidential
Oh,
history.
he does.
Were you better
Yeah.
off than you were 4 years ago? It's a powerful line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And his speech in Germany was pretty cool. I was there.
Or who was he going up against when they talked about his age? He goes, well, let's talk. You know, I won't fault you for your youth and inexperience. Yeah, Mondale. Yeah, that was hilarious. But you know, back to you know, the whole fight thing. I'm glad I know we're kind of talking about multiple things here, and something came up about rigging the election. So Elon Musk said the thing that actually made him decide I'm going all in on Trump is when he saw Trump hit the floor in the assassination attempt and get up and say fight. He even mentions that, you know, he mentions it, I think, in the interview with Tucker, and he also mentions it, I think, in the at the rally. But that's when it was in his head. Remember, Musk was a Democrat. You know, he's a Democrat. RFK is a Democrat. And why are they voting for Trump? Because they see leadership in this guy. He's freaking tough as shit, right? Teflon Don is what they call him. I mean, they've thrown everything at this guy, including bullets, you know, and the guy's still going. And I pray that he continues to have, you know, that protection around him. But, you know, back to a comment that you brought up about, you know, if he loses, is it rigged? I believe so. You know, I believe they're not going to hold any stops in this regard, and that's my opinion. You know, back to what we were talking about when Musk, or when I showed the video with Musk, and he says if the Dems win, you know, elections are over, and he's talking about because they have embedded all these illegals in the swing states. They've only got the swing states now turn blue, you know, holistically, I guess, or wholly. There's not going to be any longer trying to who's going to win, who's going to you know, vote Republican, because they're just going to now be picking. They're going to be picking the Democratic nominee like they did Kamala. Just they're going to pick it. People aren't going to pick it. But Musk, he goes on to say, and this is about a 40-second clip. It's coming out of that same conversation he's having with Tucker when he talks about why we talked about it earlier, where in California, Newsom just passed a law. You cannot have, it's against the law to ask for an ID if someone's going to vote. And let me play this clip, because Musk is actually, I think in this clip, he mentions a friend that is telling him that lives in California that says, oh my God, you know, I went to go vote, I think in a local level, and he went to present his ID, and they're like, no, we're not even supposed to look at it. That's crazy. So the question is, why do Democrats, right? Why does the left, why do they want to prevent you from showing your ID to vote, which is extremely important in my opinion? Let's play this clip.
And the same people that demanded vaccine IDs for if you want to travel or do anything are the same ones who say no voter ID is required.
Is there any reason
Obviously hypocritical
to pass a law like that except to abet voter fraud?
It's so that fraud cannot be proven. So it enables large-scale fraud and no way to prove it, because how would you prove it? It's literally impossible. No ID. You're not even allowed to show your ID. It's insane.
Well, it is insane.
Insane. So
there it is. So this is why they're trying to pass no voter ID in all the swing states. Really, nation. Really, they don't care about the rest. They don't care about Texas. They don't care about, you know, Florida. They just want the swing states. And if you guys have been paying attention from the earlier in the show, the Board of Elections are now loosening the laws, the rules for the voters that have been hit by the hurricanes, because they want to make sure you can vote. Obviously, that's important, but what that means is you don't have to show your ID. Not necessary. Just, you know, we'll come by, pick up a ballot from you. We're here to help you. It's to actually commit fraud. And Elon Musk is correct. If they actually get away with this, and they have everybody voting, you don't need to show an ID. It's impossible to show fraud. How? It's impossible. And that's the plan. That's the game. They've been pushing this since I've been able to vote, you know, and it's been chipping away, and now it's coming to a head. And I think when Trump won in 2016, that they thought he was going to lose. They didn't even think he was going to win. Yeah, but had they thought he was going to win, they would have tried to cheat then, I believe. And now that's when 2020 came around, and they're like, never again, we'll never do that again. And I believe that's why when everybody went to sleep, Trump won, woke up, he lost. We already knew what time it was, you know. And the last thing I'll play, this is the last clip I have from Elon, where he goes on to talk about canceling the swing states. And this is kind of just going into what we're talking about.
See the other 49 states becoming California if the machine wins.
Well, you don't need all 49 to go that way. You just need enough to have the election, have there not be swing states. I mean, there are only 6 swing states.
Yep.
So there are only 6 states out of 50 right now that are in contention. So if those 6 states that are in contention by narrow margins are no longer in contention, then the only contest will be for who wins the Democratic primary. That's how it is in California. That's how it is in New York. There's no party versus party situation. The only contest is who wins the Democratic primary. And as we've seen with the appointment of Kamala, who no one voted for, even in the Democratic primary.
Yes.
Where's the democracy here?
Well, it's easier though.
I mean, it's just that the Dem party elite just decides who is in charge. That's a
There it is. There it is.
Elon's impressing me a lot. And that's why this election's even bigger, and they're going to fight this so hard, because if Trump gets in and he gets control of the Senate, then he can pass a bunch of these voter ID laws and clean things up, and that scares the hell out of them. Because all those rhinos that have been in there for years are scared.
This is why I'm independent, because I believe that the Rhino Red and the deep blues, I believe they're all in the same club. You know, all politicians are bullshitters and full of shit.
Look at the Cheneys.
Yeah. Oh God, the Cheneys. You know, freaking what's her name? The one that's supporting.
It as a badge of honor that the Cheneys endorsed her. I'm like, that's not a badge of honor.
It makes no sense, because
remember behind the scenes or something. I mean, even Dick Cheney. What the hell are you doing, dude? For the last 40 years, Democrats have been hating on you
for being a war hawk, whatever, and
I'm not a fan of Dick Cheney, but it's like,
but I remember that, yeah.
And they welcome in Democrats, the talking points. The regular Democrats every day are like, you know, F Dick Cheney, you know, and the Cheneys. They never liked him. They're never going to like him, the real ones. But dude, they're the ones on TV, you know, and CNN and stuff like that. They're like, oh, Dick Cheney. I mean, even Walt said we have Dick Cheney when he said that, and he said, what's the singer? Taylor Swift.
I don't listen to her
during the debate. He was like, we have Taylor Swift and Dick Cheney, and I'm like, dude, oh my god. It's like, let's see, Trump has brought together Robert Kennedy. Everybody thinks crazy and everything like that. I like him.
I like Kennedy. I would have voted for him.
And Nicole Shanahan, like her a lot. Hopefully she's the governor of California one day.
Mm-hmm.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yep.
Don't care what people say about Tulsi. Tulsi has been downrange twice.
Yep.
Twice. She's been
Patriot, man. She's got my vote.
And I see her at her shooting competitions, stuff like that. And
yeah, right. Yeah.
Her
she's actually
rifles and stuff.
I mean she's John Wickish, man. I mean, she can hold it down.
She was at it. Where did Wick practice at? That it starts with a T.
I don't remember. I know what you're talking about. I've seen the videos, but I don't know where it is.
Guy's in California.
Yeah,
and he taught what's his name, how to do John Wick and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I saw her out on that range do that course, and she was pretty good, man.
That's good, man. Yeah, that's impressive.
And I like that. Did you know that during the Butler assassination attempt, that the final shot, you know where it came from, that sniper
That took out the
counter
the
sniper
Mhm.
that he was using an Accuracy International with a what was his scope? An attacker scope, and he had a Raptor rangefinder on it.
Really?
And he took one shot. You hear it at the very end. It's like a 10 or 15 second delay, and it's ting.
Yep.
Dead.
Took the guy down, man.
That was a hell of a shot, from what I heard.
Yeah. So I mean, Trump puts together all these people, and Vivek, Vance, all that kind of stuff, and you have them out there discussing things and have substance.
Yeah.
And then I look at Kamala's side, and I'm like, I'm literally actively looking for Orange Man not bad or Orange Man bad. I don't want any of that stuff. I don't care. Don't tell me your stuff without mentioning Trump. And all I see is Trump's, he's bad.
He's bad.
And
I'm
like,
not Trump. If she had actually had some people with credibility come to her defense, like people I respected, on the left or right, or just in general in America, some people with influence, then I would be like, okay, well, they see something. Let me look into this a little bit more. I've tried to give her. I mean, I was always going to vote Trump. Let me full transparency, but I want to at least. I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, so that she got picked, by the machine, but maybe it's for a reason. I really expected her in the debate to just bring it and just explain her policy, so that way I can walk away from this going, all right, Trump, I mean, she actually knows what the hell she's talking about. I don't know, man. I mean, if she wins, at least we still have a chance as a country. It ain't gonna. I'll support her. She's a president. I want her. Whoever wins, I want them to be successful, obviously, because it affects my life. Because shit flows downstream, obviously. So, but at the end of the day, but she hasn't brought it at all. She's just a bunch of word salad.
Democrats would have
I
nominated
hate her, and I don't see anything from her.
Yeah,
if the Democrats would have had Robert Kennedy or Tulsi Gabbard, I think I would have voted for one of them over Trump.
I mean, if Tulsi probably had won the primary, I think it'd be really tough for Trump right now. Honestly,
I think it would be tough for Trump, but I still would vote Trump.
Yeah, I would still vote for Trump. Obviously.
Yeah, I think it.
But I'd be like, I don't know. I can
Would
understand.
be, you would probably be sitting down going, let's discuss their policies.
Yes,
like right
yes.
now.
Yeah.
I am raring to go to debate you guys on Trump's policies and Kamala Harris's policies, but I can't do that because I got nothing to bring on Kamala's side. I got nothing. I mean, I can't tell you anything. You bring up one policy, and I'm going to be like, I can't defend it, bro.
I got something. I got something for you. All right, check this out, guys.
Number 2. Number 1. Number 2. About the same. Number 1 might be a tiny bit better. Number 3. Number 4. Number 3. 5. And 6. 5 and 6. About the same? Yeah, they're pretty much. Can I see 5 one more time? 5 and 6. Yeah, they're about the same.
Yeah.
I
So
think
that's
you want to? She's got policies, man. They're Marxist policies, so we can talk about it.
No, I don't believe even in the
One
policies.
of my
that
friends
she
just
stated.
texted me saying we are being racist. We're saying her name wrong. So
I'm
Kamala?
sorry. Kamala, is it Kamala or is it Kamala or
Kamala.
Kamala? I don't know.
Listen, I'm old school. Nobody complained about
Biden
how
says
her name was
Kamala. So
pronounced
why
years ago.
can't we? What does it matter what her name is? We
I
want
don't
to
care.
hear her policies. But I got a clip. It's about 1 minute 30 seconds of her going on about her old policies and new policies, so you can just see how much she's flip flopped.
I intend on extending a tax cut, repealing that tax bill they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up.
Everything from a 70 to 80% tax rate.
I think that's fantastic. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
She was big on defund the police.
For too long, the status quo thinking has been
you get more safety by putting more cops on the street. Well, that's wrong.
She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border.
I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented across the border as criminals. That's correct.
Abolish ICE.
Yeah, we need to probably think about starting from scratch.
She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had. A horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad.
Bidenomics is working. It's working. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away, so stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. My agenda includes attempting to get Congress to act, but if they don't within the first 100 days of my administration, I'm going to take executive action. Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private health care options.
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance.
Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Back and forth. And that was just in 1 week, you know?
Hey, listen, I want to go back to something that I just want to talk about. Gus says that Gus Navarro talks about who's running the country right now, and Slumdog Millionaire. And we must be on the same page, or he's my spirit animal or something, because everything he talks about, I'm pretty much in agreement with. But he says that Obama is, and
I believe so.
When the stuff with the debate about the airing came up, and with that stuff that happened today when they were feeding her the questions and she covered her mouth and said it was live, it comes to my brain that in an interview, I think it was with 60 Minutes, when Obama was out of office or was leaving office, and he talked about how he wished he could just be like in his basement in his sweats and have a person have an earpiece in, and he was just talking to them through the earpiece and all that kind of stuff. And the way that this all happened with Biden, dropping out and her not being actually elected, not receiving any votes and all that, it just really, really hit me as like, is he really like sitting there telling her what to say and stuff?
I believe so. Yeah. And this whole media blitz that she's doing, I believe that's, I've heard some people say it, and
it needs to stop. She needs to stop right now.
I think she's so far behind. I think, Obama's like, oh shit, we got to do something. We got to get out there. And just to put her out there.
I get so excited. I'm like, her polls are just going
Well,
down.
she gave a damn good, I would say a golden nugget to the Trump campaign when she says that when she was asked on The View, which I can't even believe that's even still a show. Those ladies are just insufferable. But they ask her, so what would you change? Would you do anything different about the Biden policy, the Biden's administration or whatever? And she's like, no, I can't think of anything. Like, in other words, she's done everything that he would do. And then Biden came out just a couple of days ago and said, oh yeah, she's been a part of every major decision that we've had. She's been running the show with me. Essentially, we sing from the same song sheet, so he's basically saying, Kamala, Kamala, whatever the hell your name is. You're me, we're we. So go ahead.
Do you think Biden? I think Biden hates Kamala because
I think
he's
so.
scheduling press conferences right at the time when she's.
He didn't schedule that. That's another thing too.
That's awesome, man. I was like,
first time ever in the White House briefing room.
That's right.
Since he was in office. The first time is exactly 3 minutes after she started speaking.
And when she should have been talking about the port strike being ended, she was going to take credit for it. It was going to be her something she can stand on and see what I've done, and I was able to whatever. And he came in and he basically said, "Nah, she and I are singing from the same song. She, we're in complete communication." That to me, I thought, holy shit, he's pissed. Yeah. And then they're asking, "So are you going to drop?" And remember, they asked him on his way out, like, are you going to run? Are you still running? He was like, I'm back in. I mean, come on, Joe. I think knowing who Joe Biden is, and honestly, I didn't really know who the guy was until he ran, until he became Obama's vice president. I kind of paid attention to the guy. But as he was running for president, trying to beat Trump, of course, I'm going into his history. He's been, one of the earliest, 30 years old when he became a senator, one of the youngest at the time. and his whole life has been in politics, and he's lied, he's plagiarized. I mean, he's a knucklehead, just like Walz is, right? His whole freaking career hasn't done shit, hasn't done shit. But now he's president, and I'm thinking,
well, he's done a lot of. He's created a lot of the problems that we have.
That's
now.
right.
You
That's
go back
right.
and you look at those things.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he decimated the black fatherhood in this country. Because when I was a kid,
called them super predators, man.
Yeah,
Fucking
when I was a
assholes.
kid in the 70s and stuff like that, we had black families lived near us, and they were parents. The parents were together their whole entire lives and stuff like that. And these young kids that came up, I mean, you incentivize women to have children out of wedlock by, giving them assistance and stuff like that. And literally the CIA selling drugs in inner cities and getting these guys hooked and telling them, hey, you don't have to take care of your kids. The government will. And they run off and just decimated the community. And these are policies that you can't necessarily say that he was the only person, but he was heavily involved.
Oh no, he was a mouthpiece for sure.
Trump says it, and Dave Chappelle talked about it. Is like, this guy's like, he went out there and he said, yeah, I've taken advantage of the system that you created. You created this system. And they did these things. How these politicians actually get these things. But I mean, I digress. I mean, that's Biden. Not a big fan of Biden. Never really was. Obama.
Yeah, so you're right. He created a lot of the problems, and then now he fast forward. I'm thinking about this guy and his ego, and just him doing the pro quo on video that we talked about at the beginning of the show. The guy the balls that this guy has to do. He knows he's sitting in a press conference and he says what he says. His ego, his pride is so huge. I cannot believe that he is sitting now at the White House or at the beach, wherever the hell he is right now, and not freaking pissed that they literally said, "Hey, you're out, Joe. It was fun. All right, we'll give you a presidential library if you keep your mouth shut, But Kamala's in. I bet he's pissed. So at the end of the day, if she loses, he's gonna be like, ha ha ha. I know he's gonna be like, well, I mean, I think he comes out and says, well,
Trump said today he expects there to be something that goes down between Biden and Kamala before Election Day. I wouldn't doubt it, because I heard rumors that Jill Biden and Kamala's staff got into it when he did his press conference.
And you haven't heard anything from Jill. I mean,
Jill's quiet now. Joe,
she was running freaking the situation.
I don't think she can say anything because of the fact that I don't think she would be quiet. She seems like someone that's like, she probably gets on Joe's case like before when things were privately and everything like that. But I bet you if you got her public and her talking, she'd slip up, or she'd be pretty upset.
She'd say the quiet parts out loud.
Yeah, she can't do that. So she's avoiding anything. I would recommend she should do that, because Biden has a real good opportunity right here. I mean, him putting on Trump's hat and then him doing
you don't do that if you think he's a threat to democracy. You don't put on
he'd be like, I'd never.
If I was Trump and there was any kind of communication, and that they do have a communication, but if I was Trump, I would go to Biden and I'd be like, look, they're not going to treat you well when this election happens, and especially if I win. Come over to my side, endorse me and everything like that. But under one condition, you pardon yourself and your son before you leave office, so that Trump doesn't have to. And he won't. And Trump's like, I won't do anything at all, to talk bad about you.
I was actually thinking the same thing.
And he could retire gracefully. And I mean, Democrats be upset with him, but they're going to be upset with him anyway. If Trump wins, they're all going to blame it on Biden.
It's his fault anyways. Yeah, you can hold it down. It's your fault. They're looking for someone to blame. They're going to blame Biden. They're going to blame Biden on the failed policies. Especially if Trump gets in there and he just completely changes the game, and we start to do well as a country again.
Well, he deserves to be blamed, but not by Democrats.
Right.
Democrats pushed Biden to do the policies.
Yeah, you're right.
And they should American be happy people with him and him go and him retire, and they talk well about him. But I tell you what, if Trump wins, they're going to all point at Biden as it's your fault. You waited too long to not run, to say you weren't going to run. They're going to blame him on everything. It's going to be terrible for him. Biden's best option would be to pardon himself and his son, get that crap over with, because we all know that that's going to be, as soon as Joe Biden passes, I guarantee you Hunter Biden's going to be in serious trouble. But it pardon himself and his son, move on. Trump calls off the dogs, and he goes and he says, I endorse Trump, shocks the world, and retires peacefully.
And truly, I don't think Trump's going to go after any of these people when he's in office.
Yeah,
I think they claim he's going to do.
I think he's going to get busy trying to do everything he said he needed to do.
He didn't go after Hillary when he got in office last time, and they claim he's going to. They're so scared of it because they know they've done so much. He won't do it.
They're projecting. I mean, they're the lawfare that they have put on this guy. The fact that they've tried to that we know about that have been two failed attempts of assassinations. But based on their rhetoric, and they're the ones calling him Hitler and all this crap, they're creating these monsters. They're creating this mentality, I think that, they won't, of course, they won't admit to it, of course, but, I do pray that if he wins, I mean, it's not just going to stop. They don't want him to be successful at all. And I think if he wins, they're really going to, I guess, in my opinion, the way things look and the way the temperament is around the country, especially with things being said, with Biden coming out saying, when he was asked at the press conference that he's never done before, and in his presidency, and they're asked, do you think there will be a peaceful transfer of power? And he said, what did he say? I hope so. I'm not counting on it, or something like that. He said something in that regard. Where, it's like, why would from who? From Trump? I mean, Trump's not president. It's not like you're going to give it to him. He can't give it back. It's like, so are you saying, Biden, that if Trump wins, that you're not going to give up power? The Dems aren't going to go away quietly? I think that's what he meant by that. Yeah. That at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to do the rioting and the burning. They're the ones that have been burning down the businesses and the cities and those types of things. Not
There's
us.
like a 4-minute clip of Dems saying that election.
No, I know what you're going to say. I was just thinking of it. It's a 24-minute clip of Democrats since 2000 complaining that Trump was an illegitimate president. And when Bush won in 2004, and when Trump won, for the last 20 years, it's a 24-minute video where they're just saying election fraud, all that stuff. And they're saying things that Trump said. And it's like, okay, listen, guys, I'm not a big fan of Democrats or Republicans, but when Democrats do stupid things, independents see it so much, because we're like, you want me to not believe my lying eyes. You're just I see what you did. I've seen all those clips. Putting them together was a reminder that you gaslit me and making me think that didn't happen. And here it is. I remember those videos. Trump, a long time ago, and when he was running in 2016, he said that there were people on top of buildings during 9/11 cheering that the towers fell down. And I remember seeing that video that day when 9/11 happened. We're watching it. I remember seeing it happen, and they covered it. And then years later, he brings it up, and they're like, this is fake. This is false information. And then they found the video. And I'm like, see, now you're trying to make me think that I'm crazy because I remember seeing it, when they could have just not said anything.
That's right.
And been like, whatever. But it seems like they want to catch Trump so bad that they'll literally make up things that aren't even there. And if you just focus on the bad things that he does say, you might build some credibility. And that's where I go back. I can't debate anybody on their policies, because their policies, if they do have one, I don't like it. And they don't have policies for most of them. I have no idea what Kamala's policies are at all. I have no idea on any of it.
I've got one for you.
I'm prepared to take executive action and put in place a ban on the importation of assault weapons into our country. But we still have to deal with the over 2 million assault weapons that are currently in the streets of America. And so a buyback program is a good idea. If Congress fails to act, I'll give them 100 days to put a bill on my desk for signature. And if they do not do it, I will put in place by executive action a comprehensive background check requirement and a ban on the assault weapons and importation of assault weapons into our country. I'm done.
And that's why we will work to pass universal background checks, red flag laws, and an assault weapons ban.
That's coming, guys, if she's elected. 100%.
Do you see when she's talking in the first clip? Like, she's like this, looking at, like, it's like, where are you looking? Oh, there's the teleprompter I'm supposed to be reading.
She's all over there. Oh, you guys see when the teleprompter went out on her?
She owns a gun.
32 days.
She doesn't own a gun.
She's like, it's not on yet. Oh shit! 32 days.
32. Yeah.
You guys see and you could tell the crowd behind her is like reacting. They're like, we don't see this on. What's she going? Oh my gosh, what's happening?
That's when her teleprompter went out. That was hilarious.
She's the Glock owner, though. So
yeah, but So if you ask me,
what kind of Glock she owns,
that's right. You know? If you ask me, hey, do you own a gun?
40 is what.
Glock 43X, 19. 19 or something, MOS or something. The point is that the challenge is that she's saying that she owns a Glock, right? And in the state of California, they were actually trying to pass a law that was going to make Glock where you couldn't own a Glock because it didn't have any type of biometric, device to, trigger. And then of course the magazine limits or whatever, the bullet count or the bullet limits. So the point is, so she's saying that she owns a Glock, yet she was so for blocking the ability to carry it when she was, in office over there. The point, and then there's a video that I have of her. I guess it's when she was. I'm not sure if she was the DA or the AG, but it's really grainy. But this is her standing. She's standing to Newsom, I think, at the time, and she's actually talking about gun owners. Check this out.
Responsible behaviors among everybody in the community, and just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs.
Have you heard?
Yeah, you can try that shit. Try to walk into my home. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen.
Viking crypto warrior.
Yeah.
Oh, that's classic.
Proto Glock. It's constantly. Hell yeah, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that whole thing too. Slumdog brings that up too. The whole thing with she was getting high with Tupac and Biggie and all that stuff in college when
she's like in her 30s.
My favorite rapper that's currently alive. Yeah.
Oh my God, man! I tell you, I think that if she wins, man, they're gonna make sure that like Elon was talking about. I believe that's the plan. They're going to cancel the swing states. They're going to make it to where that's never an issue anymore. That's one. Number two, the next step is, of course, to take away our First Amendment. We can't have that. We can't do what we're doing right now. It will be shut down, and they're already trying to do that. In fact, the only way to protect this First Amendment, of course, is the Second. So they've been going after the Second Amendment, for a very long time. Now, I believe that I don't believe they're going to go door to door and start taking guns. I mean, they're not stupid, I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be with a police officer or maybe a soldier that have to go and do that and go to door and
what about that video from Minnesota when they were shooting people, telling people to get back in their house and shooting them with paintball?
That was terrible.
I mean, right, and there was those were actually cops doing it, right? Wasn't national?
Paintball is just a step up.
That's right.
If you're a military person and if you have anything to do with guns, that if you point your gun at anything, your intention is to destroy whatever you're pointing it at. And if you're playing paintball and stuff like that, you might be able to know the difference. But if you're a young person in the military and you open your sights and you shoot a paintball, it's a short step, a very, very short step from a paintball to a bullet.
Yep.
That's no way to treat military personnel, police officers, or anything like that. You're putting them in.
That's right.
grave situations, even for something as silly as that. I don't know if it was for COVID or if it was for the riot.
COVID.
It was for COVID. It was for COVID, and
They set curfew laws.
They set curfew
in
laws.
Minnesota.
Now, I don't,
And
this
people
was,
are on their
and this was Watts. This is
Yeah.
when Watts was governor, right? He also not only had the curfew laws, but check this out. He also set up a hotline so that you see something, you can call on your neighbors. Hey, they're not wearing a mask or they're outside. This is the guy that wants to be vice president. Yeah, they're breaking the law. He actually authorized police officers to go paintball shoot, citizens to get back in the house. What the hell is this? That's a tyrant, man. That's dictatorish right there. That's Venezuelan shit right there. That you're going to do that.
Well,
And
they
it
got to be careful. They got to be careful because, there are a lot of people out there that don't vote. They don't even care. They just follow their constitution and they stay out of people's way. There are millions of veterans out there that I think Joe Rogan said it in one of his podcasts or something like that, there's a bunch of guys out there, a bunch of veterans, men and women out there that just want to be left alone. And you start messing with their guns and you start messing with their constitutional rights. It's like you only get them involved. It's like you break glass and you send those crazy people off to fight your wars. And you have a bunch of them that went off and did that and are just trying to live peaceably. And when they start talking about all these different things that they're going to take away, those guys don't pay attention. They don't care. But when things start happening like that, you're going door to door and you're doing things, it'll be ended. There's a whole lot of people out there that have military training that just want to be left alone, way more than what's out there. And even people in the military, they're not going to go towards civilians and stuff like that. And they like border patrol and stuff. These people are struggling. They know that they're put in terrible positions, but they're leaders that are out there that don't care. Eventually, they're going to push these people, and they are going to be the ones. The leaders are going to be the ones that are all out, either voted out or God forbid, there's some type of an event that they're all forcibly removed.
Yeah, they're going to be tarred and feathered, man. I mean, there's Thomas Jefferson, obviously a man of wisdom. I'm gonna put something up here that I saw today on Twitter. I love this. He says there are two enemies. The two enemies of the people are criminals and government. So let us tie the second down with the chains of the Constitution, so the second will not become the legalized version of the first. Think about that. So that goes back to what you started the conversation off with, Chris, is that politicians are, they're all the same. They're all bullshitters, and they all lie, and they lie to their advantage. And I think that they are one step away from being criminals at the end of the day. They write themselves their own paychecks and their own raises, and they give themselves the ability to work around or be protected by the laws against the laws they write, against us. But without the Constitution, it's over, game over, checkmate. And I believe they're trying to erode the Constitution. Walt the other day just said, I think he just said it. I was going to bring it up. I was going to catch the video. I think he may have been at a rally, but he actually says he wants to do.
It was a rally for Newsom or something, benefits there.
Yeah. He says that the college, electoral college needs to be done away with.
Of course, because it doesn't suit their needs.
I mean, he basically just says it like it's like.
But yeah, and I can understand the point that the ignorance of what he's talking about. But if the electoral college was done away with, then the system would be like the popular vote, or it would be county vote, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
they own all the counties,
almost 3,000 counties in the country. They win the majority of counties.
The whole map is red except for the big
right.
city.
So if you get rid of the electoral college, you run into serious problems for both political parties. But one thing I wanted to say, and I think we're going to probably wrap it up soon.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say something. This is a personal story. I know a lot of veterans. I helped a veteran. I didn't help them. We discussed it. Veteran has a disability. Goes to the VA, gets turned down repeatedly to get assistance with his disability. All right. This disability probably going to cost him a lot if he does it out of pocket, but it's totally connected to his service, right? So he finally gets approved, and they're going to take care of a lot of things associated with it. So there is a little bit of benefit there. But do you know how much compensation he gets for something that it's deteriorating to the point where he will not be able to use it anymore? And it's like one of your major senses that he's losing, and it's degenerative, and he'll lose it, and they're going to pay him. I mean, it's degenerative, so he won't need medical assistance after it's gone because there won't be any more of it. He gets $170 a month. And there are millions of stories like that.
That's
and
sick.
then I see these things on TV and stuff like that, like, people coming into the country.
Million to
Right.
Lebanon.
So $170 a month this guy gets for something that he's going to lose. That is one of your major senses that will be gone in the next couple of years. It's rapidly deteriorating. So I would say he less than 5 years, it'll be completely gone. But he'll get $170 a month.
That's disgusting, man.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
And there's so many veterans out there and so many things that, who knows?
Sickening.
But I wanted to bring that up. When we were talking about doing this, I was like, I'm going to bring that story up because it kind of puts in perspective, like what's happening to people in North Carolina and Florida and, Tennessee and stuff like that, and how the FEMA money's moved around and all that kind of stuff. Well, I understand, and I'm sympathetic to that, but us in the VA, we've been dealing with that for decades. They'll go, these politicians go in there and say, we're going to give all this money to the VA. Trump did help. Trump did help quite a bit and gave us way more options. But both sides, they come in, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And then when the elections are over, none of it gets done.
I think if Trump wins, I think he's going to double down and he's going to do more than he did across the board because he wants to go out. Go out with his ego and all that. I think he's going.
Yeah, he's worried about his legacy. That's why I think that we're in a.
He's got such a big ego. Too big to fail.
In a good way. There's the crazy thing about that story, Chris, and this is, I guess, to wrap it up, is, and I hope we do this again, guys, because I know elections, 29 something days from now, but we'll definitely be doing.
We're doing it again.
100%. There'll be more stuff to talk about, but. This is what really angers me the most about our politicians and those that we delegate authority to. We're giving them the authority to rule over our lives to some degree because we need to go live our lives and build families and keep the country going. But they allow the most vulnerable amongst us, which are the children, and the bravest amongst us. They allow both those factions of the American people to suffer. We have sex trafficking of children and women, and even boys, of young men. There's 325,000 children that have come across this border that are missing since the Biden administration has been in power. What do you think's happening to those? You can come to Houston and you'll find out. This is the hub for sex trafficking for children. It's disgusting, and then we got the bravest among us. So I know that as I'm driving around Houston and I'm, going to work, trying to live my lives and my life. And I know there's children that are missing right now and they're being hurt. If they're not alive, they're probably being sold as a sex slave or worse, or it could be worse than that. And then I see the veterans living on the street, that aren't being taken care of. It blows my mind that this is allowed. It doesn't get talked about. So I hope it doesn't stop with Trump. If Trump wins, I believe Vance, because of his military background, I think he's going to do even more for the vets. And because he has children, I hope he does more as well for the children. In fact, it needs to be. And I know in Texas we're trying to do some things locally, but there's a lot of work to be done. Especially for the vulnerable and the most bravest amongst us, because I think those are the ones hurting the most in this country. And everyone else in the middle, it matters, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the bravest, and if it wasn't for the youngest. What purpose do we have? In life, right? But that's my soapbox on that. So
this is why I like Trump's messaging: "Make America Great Again, America First." Is you have people suffering in America right now, and we're sitting there throwing money to Ukraine, money to Lebanon, and you got people suffering here that can't get the help they need. FEMA's who knows what the hell. You have leadership that's doing nothing. It's sickening. And, you know, Trump may not be the best choice for everybody because you don't like the way he talks. But look at what he did, and it was better. There's 58 of you watching on X right now. Most of you are probably not subscribed to my channel. So if you go to my X page, it's the pin thing. You can go check out my channel and subscribe if you want. I appreciate all of you watching. Thank you. Chris Cruz, you got anything to end it up?
No, I appreciate the time with you. It was nice getting to talk to a lot of seeing the comments and stuff. I tried to see all of them. Hopefully, there's a link for a video that someone posted, so I want to go check that out. But I appreciate the time hanging out with you guys and talking about some issues, and hopefully,
I'm thinking of making this a weekly Wednesday show. So
I'm available, man. So
I mean, we're just coming up on the election, so we should probably plan something like there's 3 Wednesdays before the election, and then the election on the 5th. So we should probably maybe plan something on election night or something like that. That'd be
for sure. For sure. I'll do a live stream election night for sure.
I'm gonna bring the whiskey. I may need to bring 2 bottles because he may, they may cheat. But
you see my whiskeys back
I see you. Yeah, I gotta get
love
my
your
office
setup, Chris. That background's awesome.
Yeah, you see my humidor back there too. The cigar thing. Go over there and grab me one. Then my military flag and stuff. I don't think I've ever shown I always have a background up or something.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah, this is nice. It like fits the theme.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Oh, here we go. Here it is.
Whiskey, cigars, and American flag.
There it is. There's my background. I didn't even think about the background. I just came on and was talking. Maybe I should stop running my mouth so much.
Nah, man, that's the fun stuff. But
so I thank everybody for coming out tonight and watching.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
We're gonna do this again. Remember, please like, subscribe. Help me grow this channel. I was at 225. I don't know how much I've grown since this live started. Hopefully I've grown because I'm trying to spread the good word. And if Kamala does somehow get elected, which I hope to God she doesn't, I will have 4 years of the best content daily with her because she is going to give.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The videos are great. You should get massive engagement there. I don't try much. Like I replied to a comment a couple weeks ago and got like over 250,000 views. I don't know how that stuff works, but I was just replying.
You're talking on X?
Yeah, it was on X.
Yeah, I'm growing on X. Just YouTube's not catching up. I went from 1,000 to 5,500 in a matter of 2 weeks on X, and YouTube, they don't like me. I'm kidding.
They don't
get
like
with a couple of them.
What I need is to catch a break and just like have somebody pull me on one of their shows. Like they see this live and they go, I like this guy. Let's pull him on one of our daily shows. And then boom, take off.
Yeah, you should get with Tim Pool.
Tim Pool's good, yeah.
You should be on the Young Turks.
So Cenk can destroy me.
Yeah.
He gets Prado rage. Cenk gets Prado rage. And Kasparian's actually turning now.
I saw that. She left the left. We need to talk about that next time, man, for sure.
We can talk about that.
That'd be a good conversation. Yep.
It's actually good. She impressed me. I watched an interview with her, so hard to say that. I like when they turn because then they wake up and you can see the awakening. It's very nice.
Tim Pool actually, I think Tim Pool said this in closing. He's talking about her leaving the left. And he said that the only way for the left to leave the left is you have to give them what they want. Let them have their crazy policies. Let them live it. Let them give them what they want. And they begin to see that, holy shit, what was I thinking? And that's when they kind of wake up. So I'm glad that she's actually waking up to some things. The left eat their own at the end of the day. That's what's happening. So, yeah, we'll definitely talk about it for sure.
Well, on that note, make America great again.
100%.
We'll do my fake Trump dance, and we're out.
See ya.